Hello everyone, good morning. আজি হৈছে মক নাম্বাৰ 2 APSCৰ যেটো আহি আছে যোৱাকালিৰ টেষ্টটোত মই 146 মাৰ্কস পাইছিলো আউট অফ 200 আৰু ইয়াত কৈছিলে যে ডিফিকাল্টি লেভেলটো এক্সট্ৰিম তাৰ পিছত যেতিয়া মকটো দিলো তাৰ পিছত চোন ইজিলি মানে এলিমিনেট কৰিব পাৰি মানে অপচন বিলাক চুজ কৰিব পাৰিছিলো আৰু 80 কাৰেক্ট হৈছিলে টোটাল আৰু 20 ইনকাৰেক্ট হৈছিলে গতিকেটা মানে দিছিলো আৰু ইউপিএসসিৰ ধৰণৰ নহল হেতু যেটো মক টেষ্ট আগলে দিছিলো আই হোপ আজিৰটো অলপ ভাল হ'ব লাগে আজিৰটোত মানে টোটাল পেজ আছে এটো পিডিএফত 122 আৰু যোৱাকালিৰ পিডিএফটোত আছিলে মাত্ৰ 64 নে কিবা তেনেকুৱা পেজ আছিলে আজি বহুত বেছি হৈছে আৰু এক্সপ্লেনেশন খিনিও অলপ লেংথি হৈছে আজি ওকে স্টার্ট কৰিছো প্ৰথম কোৱেশ্চন with reference to the constitutional architecture governing legislative powers in India consider the following statements architecture constitutional architecture governing legislative powers Parliament may legislate on a subsequent state list if the Rajya Sabha declares by a resolution supported by not less than 2/3 of the members present and voting that it is necessary in the national interest. And governor question of like बहुत बेसी माने बुझी पाते टान হৈ যায় মানে Parliament may legislate on a subject in the state list. State list subject to Parliament এ কৰিব পাৰিব নেকি If the Rajya Sabha declares by a resolution supported by not less than 2/3 of the members present and voting that it is necessary in the national interest. National interest হলে তো parliament কৰিব পাৰিব লাগে ন মানে আজনো ভালকে যেটো state list হেৰি এটো parliament এ কৰিব পাৰিব আৰু কি majority 2/3 হলে মানে special majority to হ'ব লাগে কাৰে হ'ব লাগে statementটো a law made by parliament under such a resolution continues to remain in force indefinitely unless repealed enforced indefinitely unless repealed এটো হ'ব লাগে repeal নোহোৱা পৰ্যন্ত মানে কন্টিনিউ হৈ থাকিব ন during the operation of a national emergency okay Parliament acquires the power to legislate on all matters in the state list respective of the ground on which the emergency was proclaimed এটো তো once no লাগে কিন্তু এতে on all matters বুলি কৈছে ন কিছুমান নৰিব নেকি in the operation of national emergency no Parliament acquires the power to legislate on all matters in the state list respective of the ground on the emergency was proclaimed eto incorrect question lage on all grounds could no pare so I will go for one and two only oh I'll go at a state legislature loses its competence to legislate on a state list subject whenever Parliament legislates upon it under any constitutional provision state legislature power loss হৈ পৰে মানে state listor ওপৰত legislate কৰিব নোৱাৰে ন পাৰে যেনিবা কিন্তু হেৰি হয় ন competency অলপ ডাউন হয় যেতিয়া Parliament legislates upon it under any constitutional provision হ'ব পাৰে Parliament legislature হ'ব পাৰে so I will go forward 1 2 and forward 1 2 3 or 1 3 only এইটোতো ইমান নহ'ব under any constitutional provision এইটো নহয় 4টো নহ'ব এইটো এনি আছে ন এনিটো অলপ বেলেগ কিবা এটা বেলেগ ধৰণৰ 1 3 4 Parliament legislates upon it under any এইটো 4টো হ'ব নালাগে 1 and 3 1 and 2 and 4 1 3 4 my god legislative all matters the whole into 4 to as a legislature loses its competence to legislate on a state list subject whenever Parliament legislates upon it under any constitutional provision upon it under any to 3 2 হ'ব লাগে 1 to 3 হ'ব লাগে I will go for B 1 and 3 only প্ৰথমটো ৰং হৈ থাকিলে এনেকুৱা ধৰণৰ কুৱেশ্যন হ'ব লাগে মানে বহুত হাৰ্ড আছে ন এইটো 1 and 3 হে কাৰেক্ট বাকী 2 ৰং আছে 2 and 4 to law made by the Parliament under such a resolution continues to remain in force indefinitely unless repealed remain in force বহুত সময় লাগি থাকে তাৰমানে পাৰ্লিয়ামেণ্ট যেতিয়া ষ্টেট লিষ্টৰ ওপৰত হেৰি কৰে তেতিয়াহ'লে ষ্টেট লিষ্টৰ কি হেৰি থাকিলে না যদি পাৰ্লিয়ামেণ্টে চবখিনি কৰিব পাৰে কিন্তু 1টো কাৰেক্ট হয় যিটো নেশ্যনেল ইণ্টাৰেষ্টৰ ওপৰত বস্তুটো মানে পাৰ্লিয়ামেণ্টে হেৰি কৰিব পাৰে ন লেজিসলেট কৰিব পাৰে চ' 2টো ৰং থাকিলে আৰু এইপিনে 1টো ৰং থাকিলে and 4 A state legislature loses its competence to legislate on a state list subject to whenever Parliament legislates upon it under any constitutional provision. So during the operation of a national emergency, Parliament acquires the power to legislate on matters in all state lists, irrespective of the ground on which the emergency was proclaimed. Okay. So state emergency সময়ত state listor ওপৰত যিকোনো মানে কৰিব পাৰে ন Parliament national emergency. Article 249 empowers Parliament to legislate on a state list subject if Rajya Sabha passes a resolution by a 2/3 majority of members present and voting that it is necessary in national interest. 249 Parliament. To encourage the law may continue, but the special competence derived from Article 249 ceases when the resolution expires. So law ceases to have effect 6 months after the resolution catches acceptable actions overtaken. বন্ধ হৈছে ছয় মাহৰ পাছত ন correct under Article 250 during emergency of national emergency Parliament can legislate on state list subjects irrespective of whether the emergency is due to war external aggression or armed rebellion okay the 4 is incorrect as well. State legislature does not automatically lose competence. In many cases, both laws may coexist with parliamentary law prevailing in case of repugnancy. Parliamentary thake state power to thake legislature mane coexist kore no Consider the following statements regarding the Indian summer monsoon. Oh wow. The Tibetan Plateau acts only as a mechanical barrier and has no thermodynamic role in monsoon circulation. Tibetan যিটো প্লেটিউ আমাৰ মনচুনৰ ওপৰত ইফেক্ট আছেনে নাই আছেতো থাকিব লাগেতো ন The Somali jet contributes significantly to moisture transport towards the Indian subcontinent. Somali jet contributes significantly to moisture transport towards the Indian subcontinent. Somaliar jet streamer কথা কৈছে নেকি নাজানো দেই significantly to moisture transport towards the Indian subcontinent moisture transport কৰে contribute significantly হ'ব পাৰে Somaliটো গৰম জাগা হ'ব ন আফ্ৰিকাৰ Somaliar stronger than normal masculine high generally favors a stronger cross equatorial flow. Stronger than normal masculine high generally favors a stronger cross equatorial flow. Generally favors a stronger cross equatorial flow. Itu correct statement hobo. 3 to 4 to El Nino events invariably lead to drought conditions over India. Itu El Nino drought no kore. El Nino, La Nina, El Nino, La Nina. Invariably lead to drought conditions over India. Drought El Nino hole drought hobo lage to El Nino, La Nina. La Nina hole mane bahut beshi borokhon pore boli jana jay. El Nino hole itu hobo pare de lead to drought conditions over India. Yes. Tini and Sari can be correct. Tibetan plateaus acts only as a mechanical barrier. To Tibetan plateau to thermodynamic role in incorrect thermodynamic role আছে monsoon circulation so 2 3 4 this can be correct 2 3 4 C 2 and 3 only it will fully declare 2 and 3 only El Nino events invariably lead to drought conditions over India. El Nino events invariably lead to instances over India. Okay. The place is both mechanical barrier and elevated heat source. So 1 2 incorrect again, no? Its summer heat plays a crucial hydrodynamic role. Correct. The Somali jet transports huge quantities of moisture across the urban sea. Huge amount of quantities. Statement correct. A stronger masculine high increases pressure greater than strengthens cross equatorial flow. To echo body bonade stronger masculine to give a high increases pressure greater than strengthens cross equatorial flow. Incorrect El Nino increases drought probability but does not invariably produce drought. Drought to very correct but invariably no. Examples exist where monsoon remained near normal despite El Nino. Examples exist where monsoon remained near normal despite El Nino. El Nino, La Nina. Exist monsoon near normal despite. Okay. Monsoon to থাকে El Nino Question 3. With reference to the Ahom polity, consider the following statements. The Pike system represented an arrangement in which service obligations rather than private ownership formed the basis of resource mobilization. System represented an arrangement in which service obligations rather than private ownership formed the basis of resource mobilization. Pike system to কেনেকুৱা আছিলে খাজনা দিয়া আছিলে ন কিবা এটা পৰ্চন দিব লাগে কিবা এটা পাৰ্চেণ্টেজ 1/3 কিবা এনেকৈ to the king. Pike system to an arrangement in which service obligations দিব লাগিছিলে নেকি কাম কৰি দিব লাগিছিলে নেকি এইটোতো হ'ব নালাগে rather than private ownership on the basis of resource mobilization. I don't think it is correct. The office of Borfukon combined military, civil and judicial functions. The office of Borfukon combined military service judicial functions. The office of Borfukon military, civil, judicial functions military, civil, judicial Borfukonor no এইটোতো হ'ব নোৱাৰে not possible. Under the Monsieur Ahom system, all Pikes rendered service directly to the king without intermediary administrative organization. বহুত টাফ দিছে ন বস্তুখিনি বুজি নাপাওঁ Under the Monsieur Ahom system, Monsieur বুলি all Pikes rendered service directly to the king without intermediary administrative organization. Intermediary নাছিলে নেকি Pike system ডাইৰেক্ট ৰাজাক সেৱা কৰিব লাগিছিলে ন তো হ'ব নোৱাৰে Expansion of wheat rice cultivation contributed to the consolidation of Ahom state power. Wheat rice cultivation to the consolidation of Ahom state power. এইটো হ'ব লাগে to general statement হয় চাৰিটো কাৰেক্ট হ'ব লাগে এইটো 2টো হ'ব নালাগে দেই 1 2 কাৰেক্ট হ'ব পাৰে 1 and 4 only. I will go for C. এইটো 1 2 4 গোটেইকেইটাত A দিছে 1 2 4 কাৰেক্ট বোলে C টোহে কাৰেক্ট নহয় 3 টোহে কাৰেক্ট নহয় The Pike system represented an arrangement in which service obligation লাগিছিলে ন service কৰিব লাগিছিলে rather than private ownership from the basis of resource mobilization. Service মানে ownership হেৰিটো নাছিলে আৰু ন চিষ্টেমটো নাছিলে Pike চিষ্টেমত খালি কাম কৰ কিবা এটা পা সেনেকুৱা আৰু কি কাৰণ নিজা বগীয়াকৈ খেতি মাতি নাছিলে এনেকুৱা ধৰণৰ হ'ব and 1 2 and 4 আছিলে ন the office বৰফুকনৰ কি মিলিটাৰী আছিল civil or judicial function military power civil power judicial power এনেকুৱা ধৰণৰ আৰু ন বৰফুকনৰ আছিলে যেটো under the Monsieur Ahom system বুলিতো এনেকৈ নাই এইটো অলপ মানে ফেক বস্তুটো working without intermediary আছিলে কিজানি প্ৰথমতে Pike চিষ্টেমটো কালেক্ট কৰিব কালেক্টৰে ন মহলদাৰে নে কি বাহিৰ থাকিলোঁ তাৰপিছতে ৰাজক দিব ইণ্টাৰনেট white rice cultivation contributed to the consolidation of state power. Okay. The pike system was fundamentally a labor service system. Labor service system আছিলে pike system to labor service system আছিলে Porfucon was military commander, administrator, and judicial power. Western Assam. Pikes were organized into administrative units. Pikes belong pike to revenue system নহয় pike to আছিলে labor আছিলে এতিয়া মনত পৰিছে মোৰ গোট আছিল খেল আছিল 4টা পাইকে এটা গোট 20টা পাইক কিবা আছিলে পাৰটো বৰা হাজৰিকা হৈকিয়া এনেকৈ আছিলে বোধহয় and it all serve individually with organizational structure okay পাহৰি থাকিছিলো এনেহলে পাহৰো এটোৰ কাৰণে তো এনেকৈ মক টেষ্ট হেৰ কৰিব লাগে বা এনেকৈ ৰিভিজন দিয়া নিচিনা হয় agricultural expansion strengthened revenue extraction and state formation question for consider following ইয়াতে তিনিটা কৰিলো তিনিটা ভুল মানে এনেকুৱা টাফ কৰিছে কোৱেশ্চনটো ন টাফ কৰিছে বা কৰা নাই সেইটো পিছৰ কথা মই নিজে নাজানো এইটো ইমান কথা কনচিডাৰ দ্য ফলোইং পায়োচাৰ বা কি বস্তু পায়োচাৰ বায়োলজিকেল কিবা হ'ব না চাৰ মানে কি দে I don't know enhanced rock withering শিল খহি যোৱা direct air capture আৰু ocean fertilization মহাসাগৰ ফাৰ্টিলাইজ কৰিব মানে সাৰ দিয়ে নেকি কিবা বস্তু এগুলো ভালকে নাজানো How many of the above are generally classified as carbon dioxide removal CDR carbon dioxide removal approaches rather than merely emission reduction approaches carbon dioxide removal process rather than merely emission reduction approaches কেটা কৈছে এটা দিছে চাৰিটাৰ ভিতৰত দুটা হ'ব নেকি কৰে কেনেকুৱা লাগে ন Biosphere how many of the classified as carbon dioxide removal approaches rather than merely emission reduction approaches emission reduction কৰাৰ উপৰিও কাৰ্বন ডাই অক্সাইড ৰিমুভ কৰে আৰু কিনো নহয় কৰে বায়োচাৰ হয় নেকি হ'ব পাৰে বায়োচাৰ যিটো বায়োলজিকেল হয় ন সেইটো কি হ'ব কাৰ্বন এমিশ্যন জিৰ' কাৰ্বন হোৱা নিচিনা ন কাৰ্বন এমিশ্যন ফ্ৰী হ'ব এনহান্সড ৰক উইটাৰিং হ'লে কাৰ্বন অক্সাইড হেৰি হয় নেকি নহয় এইটোতো নাজানো ডাইৰেক্ট এয়াৰ কেপচাৰটো কিবা বুজিছে ডাইৰেক্ট মানে এয়াৰ কেপচাৰ কৰে অচিয়ান ফাৰ্টিলাইজেশ্যন কৰিলে এইটো how many of the above are generally classified as carbon dioxide removal approaches rather than merely emission ভালকে বুজি পোৱা নাই ন কাৰ্বন ডাই অক্সাইড ৰিমুভেল বুজি পোৱা নাই মানে কাৰ্বন ডাই অক্সাইড সেইটো কেনেকুৱা বহুত কথা থাকিব ভিতৰত মই নাজানো ভাই so I will choose only 2 হ'লে হ'ল নহ'লে নাই B এইটো গোটেইকেইটাই হৈছে কাৰেক্ট আনচাৰ so এনেকুৱা ধৰণৰ টাফ কুৱেশ্যন পেপাৰ বনাব লাগে এতিয়া মানে বস্তুখিনি বুজি পোৱা নাযায় ন How many of the above are generally classified as carbon dioxide removal approaches rather than merely emission reduction approaches or emission reduction to কৰিয়ে তাৰ উপৰিও কাৰ্বন ডাই অক্সাইড ৰিমুভ কৰে ন কোনকেইটা কৈছে ন গোটেইকেইটা মানে বায়োচাৰো কৰে এনহান্সড ৰক উইটাৰিং এটাও মানে কাৰ্বন ডাই অক্সাইড ৰিমুভ কৰে এটা মানে এনেকুৱা ধৰণৰ কিবা এটা বুজাইছে ডাইৰেক্ট এয়াৰ কেপচাৰ এইটোতো একো এফেক্ট নাই ন অচিয়ান ফাৰ্টিলাইজেশ্যন কেনেকৈ কৰে নাজানো ভাই মহাসাগৰ ফাৰ্টিলাইজ কৰে বুলি ইয়াতে এক্সপ্লেনেশ্যনত কিবা কিবি দিছে নে দিছ টাইপ অফ this is the kind of emerging environment question UPSC has been moving toward. Yes, biosphere stores carbon in soil, so carbon to মাটিত সংৰক্ষণ কৰি ৰাখে enhanced rock weathering accelerates natural carbon absorption natural carbon মানে absorb কৰে natural carbon বিলাক absorb কৰে বোলে enhanced rock weathering কেনেকৈ বা কৰে শুহি লয় তাৰমানে ন carbon direct air capture basically removes carbon dioxide from atmosphere air capture কৰি কাৰণে মানে atmosphere পৰা carbon dioxide নহয় করতে পারে না ocean fertilization intended to increase biological uptake of carbon carbon ভালকে বুঝি পোৱা নাই ocean fertilization intended to increase biological uptake of carbon ocean fertilization কৰিলে মানে কাৰ্বনটো naturally increase হয় নেকি মানে naturally accept মানে uptake মানে তো কিবা গ্ৰহণ কৰা বুজাব ন কাৰ্বন ইনক্ৰিজ হয় ন বেছি হৈ পাৰে যে কাৰ্বন বায়োলজিক্যাল কাৰ্বন আপটেক কৰাটো মানে গ্ৰহণ কৰাটো মানে এনভাইৰনমেণ্টত কাৰ্বন ডাই অক্সাইড বাঢ়ি যায় নেকি কাৰ্বন অক্সাইড বাঢ়ি যায় ঠিক তেনেকুৱা নহ'বতো সেই নাজানো ভাই all are considered CDR carbon dioxide reduction approaches এনেকৈ হ'ব ন carbon dioxide reduction or removal carbon dioxide removal consider the following statements regarding inflation dynamics negative negative positive echo following statements regarding inflation dynamics a rise in food inflation can indirectly influence core inflation through second round effects monetary policy can directly increase food production in the short run a rise in food inflation can indirectly influence core inflation through second round effects man tough disease asuni bare a rise in food inflation can indirectly influence core inflation through second round effects food inflation can really influence core inflation through second round effects monetary policy can directly increase food production in the short run monetary policy can directly increase food production in short run itu সম্ভৱ নাই কেনেকৈ ফুড প্ৰডাকশ্যন কৰিব পাৰে নোৱাৰে inflation expectations can themselves become a source of persistent inflation expectations can themselves become a source of persistent inflation this inflation naturally implies falling prices this inflation মানে তো price grow হয় ন this inflation মানে falling price ইয়ে হ'ব পাৰে হ'ব পাৰে since can themselves become a source of persistent inflation expectation can themselves become a source 3 to হ'ব নালাগে 2 to 1 and 4 হ'ব পাৰে 1 3 4 D হ'ব লাগে 1 3 only Pasta wrong hole correct isle food interregulate influence occur then through second round effects through inflation expectations can themselves become a source of persistent inflation workers demand high wages due to food inflation firms pass costs onward food inflation only high wage বিচাৰে no workers firms pass costs onward their monetary policy cannot instantly increase food production expected inflation affects wage bargaining and pricing decisions this inflation means inflation is slowly and prices are falling prices continue to rise but at a slower rate question 6 with reference to the constitutional relationship between fundamental rights and directive principles of state policy consider the four estimates fundamental rights directive principles of state policy a law enacted solely to implement a directive principle can never be challenged on the ground of violating fundamental rights ইমান tough question না মানে বস্তুখিনি ষ্টেটমেণ্টবিলাক কেনেকৈ ক্ৰিটিকেলি বনাই দিছে বুজি পাবলৈ টান হয় a law enacted solely to implement the directive principle and can never directive principle never be challenged or the not violating fundamental rights এইটোতো হ'ব নোৱাৰে এইটোতো ডাইৰেক্ট ৰং হ'ব 1 2 ৰং হ'বই য'ত 1 নাই সেইটোহে কাৰেক্ট হ'ব 2 4 and 2 3 4 8 তিনিটাৰ ভিতৰত 2 4 and 2 3 4 3 to sum with the constitution amendment attempted to give primacy to all directive principles or articles 14 9 and 51 31 the constitution attempted to give primacy for the second amendment primacy to also directive principles over articles 14 19 and 31 to hobo lage dei so didi hole a hobo a to ge didiu a to correct hoise 2 3 and 4 are correct Supreme Court has held that fundamental rights and directive principles are complementary rather than antagonistic or ইহঁতে complementary হয় মানে ইষ্টুডাৰ মানে সেম হয় ন হেনেকুৱা ধৰণৰ মানে হেল্পফুল হয় কোঅপাৰেটিভ টাইপ complementary মিলি যায় Supreme Court the fundamental rights and directive principles and 2 3 4 are correct no the constitution this 42nd amendment attempted to give primacy to all directive principles over articles 14 19 and 31 14 19 31 14 কি আছে right to equality আছে না 19 কি আছিল কিবা আছিল পাহৰি গলো তাত নাজানো ভাই The Supreme Court subsequently struck down such unlimited primacy as violating the basic structures. Article 19 and 31. Sabo lagibo. could subsequently struck down such unlimited primacy as part in the basic structure. Struck down such unlimited primacy. Basic structure. Basic structure to violate kore, to struck down kore no. This is a classic trap. Okay. Although implementing DSPs is not automatically immune from judicial review, only limited protection under Article 31C exists, and even that protection has constitutional limitations. Okay. The court repeatedly emphasized harmony between parts 3 and 4. But 3 fundamental rights and 4 case directive DPSP. Part 3 the fundamental rights and part 4 ki DPSP that is harmony no. Especially the landmark judgment of mineral mills in an of India case. That is okay, correct. 9. The 42nd Amendment sought to extend Articles 31C protection to all DPSPs in mineral mills. The Supreme Court struck the extension as violating basic structure. Okay. Question 7. Consider the following statements regarding atmospheric circulation. Atmospheric circulation. The inner tropical convergence zone, ITCZ, the intertropical convergence zone, intertropical convergence zone. Tropical ritu sense convert coincides permanently with the equator. Permanently with the equator. The northward migration of the intertropical convergence zone during summer contributes significantly to the onset of the Indian monsoon. One to two Hadley cells are thermally direct circulations. Subtropical high pressure belts are associated with descending air masses. 1 2 full 2 3 4 hour. Subtropical high pressure belts. High pressure belts will get a descending air mass. High pressure zone বিলাকত air mass কমি যায় নেকি 2 and 3 যদি থাকে 2 and 3 হ'ব 2 and 3 হ'ব দে সেইটো দিও এ দিও হলে হল নহলে নাই দুইটাই কারেক্ট 2 3 4 4 কারেক্ট আসলে ফুল হয়ে গেল subtropical high pressure belts so air mass descend হয় না কমি যায় The intertropical convergence zone shifts seasonally and they may move far north of the equator during the northern hemisphere summer. Northward movement of the intertropical convergence zone is a key driver of monsoon circulation. Northward movement is to monsoon circulation is a key driver of the tropical convergence zone. Hadley circulation is thermally direct. Warm air rises near equator. Equator oshret গরম বতাহ উপরলে উঠিছে না Cool air sinks in subtropics. Okay, subtropical highs are formed by descending air and adiabatic warming. Adiabatic warming. Subtropical highs are formed by descending air subtropical lights are formed by descending adiabatic. The statements 2, 3, and 4 are correct. Okay. With reference to the evolution of land revenue systems under British rule, consider the following statements. With reference to the evolution of land revenue systems under British rule, reference to the evolution of land revenue. Reference to the evolution of land revenue systems under British rule. Okay. Under the permanent settlement, zamindars became proprietors of land in the eyes of the colonial state. Proprietors. Zamindar বিলাকে হৈছিলে ন permanent settlement হ'ব পাৰে দেই জামিনদাৰে একেবাৰে মালিক হৈছিলে Rightory settlement they recognized cultivators to regulate as revenue paying units. এটাও হ'ব লাগে directly wordৰ কাৰণে অলপ ইফালে আছে Mahalabari settlement was introduced exclusively in Bengal. I don't know Bengal মাত্ৰ দিছে ন I don't know how so 1 and 2 can be correct or and 4 is also there. The British expectation that permanent settlement would create a class of improving landlords was only partially realized. The British expectation that the permanent settlement would create a class of improving landlords only partially realized. হ'ব পাৰে এটো মানে এটা estimate নহয় but 3 cannot be correct 1 2 and 4 to B হ'ব yes B is the correct answer okay ইমান নাচাও সময় নাই permanent settlement transferred zamindars into recognized proprietors okay permanent settlement জামিনদাৰক পুৰা ধনী কৰিছিল মানে এনেকুৱা ধৰণৰ Rightory established direct settlement between government and cultivator rightory মানে settlement হৈছিলে government আৰু cultivator মাজত মানে যেটো জামিনদাৰ system নাছিলে জামিনদাৰ মানে intermediate নাছিলে ন okay Mahalwari was mainly introduced in northwestern provinces or Punjab central India not exclusively Bengal British policymakers expected agricultural improvement but absentee landlordism often emerged okay Consider the following statements regarding biodiversity and ecosystem functioning. Statements regarding biodiversity and ecosystem functioning. Species richness and ecosystem resilience are always directly proportional. Species richness and ecosystem resilience. Always directly proportional. Species variance থাকিব, ecosystem resilience থাকিব, এটোতো হ'বই. So this is correct. Functional diversity may be more important than species count in maintaining ecosystem processes. Functioning diversity may be more important than species count maintaining ecosystem processes. Yes, this can be correct as well. So keystone species exert ecological influence disproportionate to their abundance. Loss of top predators can trigger trophic cascades. Keystone species কিটো আছিলে পাহৰি থাকিলোঁ. Keystone species যেটো মানে top predator species হ'ব এই exert ecological influence abundance. No, this is not correct. 3 cannot be correct. Loss of top predators can trigger trophic cascades. Ito ho pare 1 to 4 1 to 4 nohoy 3 and 4 to no 1 and 2 only ho onki 1 to 4 nahi 2 3 4 3 to hobo na lagisile no 3 but so that's 1 and 4 only. Functional diversity may be more important than the species count. Ito hobo na re 1 and 4 only. I will go for B. B on way 2 3 4 to correct asile 1 to here. So ito wrong hol mo কি কলে লিখুম আছে না নাই লিখুম তানো আছে কোনা নহয় খেৰত আচ্ছা বস্তুখিনি টান লাগিলে বুজি নাপালো 2 3 4 কাৰেক্ট বোলে 2 3 4 এটি ইনকাৰেক্ট বিচৰা নাই বাকিও মাজে মাজে দিব লাগে নেকি ইনকাৰেক্ট বুলিও species richness and ecosystem resilience are always directly proportional. Etu iman easy asile always asile tat chala moi take bhalke nasalo sentence to always to নহয় কি হদাই এটো হৈছিলে কিন্তু always আৰু কত হয় so 1 4 কৰিলো মই 2 3 4 asile okay functional diversity often matters more than simple species count. Okay, species count ke functional diversity matter kore na so ecosystem that keystone species may have low abundance but high ecological importance or keystone species কি ভা ho main ho niki মানে বহুত বেছি নাথাকিলে কথা নাই কিন্তু ইকোলজিক্যাল কাৰণে সেৰৰ কাৰণে বহুত বেছি এটা ইনফ্লুয়েন্সিয়াল রোল প্লে করে না removal of top predators can alter the entire food web predators the food web sense হই যায় okay question 10 with reference to the process of constitutional amendment in India consider following instruments. Every constitutional amendment bill requires ratification by at least one of the state legislatures. Every constitutional amendment bill requires ratification by at least 1/2 of the state legislatures. So constitutional amendment bill 1/2 of the state legislature. হ'ব লাগে দেই চব কনষ্টিটিউশ্যন বিল একেই হয় নেকি তেতিয়াহ'লে আই ডু নট ন' ভাই নাজানো নহ'ব পাৰে হ'ব পাৰে A constitutional amendment bill cannot be introduced in a state legislature. State legislature নকৰি ন amendment bill introduce নকৰিতো ন constitutional amendment bill কৰে না নকৰে কৰিব পাৰে নকৰিব পাৰে নাজানো দে লোকসভা আৰু ৰাজ্যসভাতহে কৰে So I think this should be correct. The president is bound to give assent to the constitutional amendment bill duly passed by parliament. The correct for president to assent to the bill duly passed by parliament. Duly passed by parliament. Give assent to constitutional amendment bill. Assent মানে কি এগ্ৰি কৰাটো নহয় না মতামত দিয়াহে তো দিব লাগিব so this is correct I think. There is no provision for a joint sitting of parliament in the case of disagreement between the two houses on a constitutional amendment bill. There is no provision for a joint sitting of parliament because of disagreement between the two houses on a constitutional amendment bill. পাইছিলোঁ পাহৰি থাকোঁ বস্তুখিনি ডাবল সিটিং হয় না নহয় কনষ্টিটিউশ্যনেল amendment বিলৰ ক্ষেত্ৰত যদি ডিসএগ্রিমেন্ট হয় সেইটো হচ্ছে বিল there's no provision joint sitting এইটো ৰং হ'ব নেকি বহুত টাফ হয় বস্তুবিলাক নাজানো ভাই ইমান টাফ 2 3 and 4 সেইটো হ'ব লাগে two, 3 and 4 হ্যাঁ ওকে বিটোকে দি দিলোঁ হ'লে হ'ল নহয় যিকোনো দি দিলোঁ হা বিটো কাৰেক্ট ঠিক অনুমান মানে এনে কানা মানে ঠিক কৰিলে কাৰেক্ট হয় তাৰমানে There are certain amendments affecting federal provisions who require state ratification. Most amendments do not. Amendment bills can be introduced only in parliament. Amendment bills can be introduced only in parliament. Now then state legislature. Rokunto asile. And be introduced in state legislature. To karke hoy na. Cannot boli kusi. Under Article 368, the president must give assent or must give, yes. President is bound to give assent. The provision exists for a joint sitting regarding constitutional amendments. Constitutional amendments are joint sitting now due to disagreement between the two houses. There is no joint sitting. Okay. Very difficult if we say the message that what's the four instruments? This is 11, question number 11. Okay, difficult, very difficult. Every biodiversity hotspot must possess high species richness. High species richness. Every biodiversity hotspot, high species richness. High species richness to থাকে, but 70% of the what called endemic species biodiversity is in a hotspot. And the endemism থাকিব লাগে endemic species থাকিব লাগে or 70% মানে declining হ'ব লাগিব ন the species to high species richness hotspot must possess এইটো কাৰেক্ট হ'ব নোৱাৰে Every biodiversity hotspot must possess high endemism. Must কিয় দিছে গোটেইকেইটাতে গোটেইকেইটাতে মাছ দিছে মানে endemismটো থাকিব লাগে but every biodiversity hotspot must have lost a substantial proportion of original habitat. এইটোতো correct হ'ব তো sure shot third is sure shot correct. The hotspot must have lost for is what is only going to qualify as a biodiversity hotspot even if it presently contains very little intact natural vegetation. Endemism হ'ব লাগিব ন এইটোতো হ'ব Brazil can qualify as a biodiversity hotspot even if it presently contains very little intact natural vegetation. Very little হ'লে হ'ব পাৰে ন natural vegetation এটা বিজব লাগে 2 main point আৰু পিনে species loss 70%. So this can be correct. 4 to correct হ'ব লাগে দেই এইটো 1 2 3 4 হ'ব নেকি নহ'লে 2 3 4 high species richness হ'বই লাগিব নেকি species richness এইটো নহ'ব hotspot must possess high endemism. Yes 2 3 4 2 3 4 I will go for 2 3 4 C. Yes C is the correct answer হৈ গ'ল মানে বস্তুখিনিতো নকৰাকৈও এৰিব নোৱাৰি. This is exactly the type of conceptual ecology question your basic likes. The hotspot criteria high endemism থাকিব severe habitat loss হ'ব লাগিব. Okay, species richness alone is not criterion. Species richness alone is not criterion কৈছে ন খালি species বেছি হ'লে যে হ'ব এইটো নহয় এইটো 1ত আছিলে must possess high species richness এইটো কাৰণে ফুল হৈ থাকিলে species richness alone is not criterion. A spot may have already lost most of its original vegetation. Okay. Refers to the nature of the Indian Constitution, Constitutional estimates. The Constitution of India is federal in form but unitary. Federal in form or nature, unitary in spirit. A Constitution of India is federal in nature but unitary in spirit. Edo hobo correct obte. The parliament to organize state boundaries without the consent of the concerned state legislature is a statute or is a piece or not with classical federations. The power of parliament to organize state boundaries without the consent of the concerned state is a piece or not ordinarily associated with classical federations. Yes. মানে পাৰ্লামেণ্টে ষ্টেট হেৰিটো নাজানাও কৰি তাৰ মতামত নলোৱা কৰি যে ষ্টেট বাউণ্ডাৰী হেৰি কৰিব পাৰে ন ডাইভাৰ্ট কৰিব পাৰে is the feature not ordinarily associated with classical federations. Classical federation the federal হয় ন সেইটো কাৰিকে হ'ব লাগে দে what classical federation বুলি কৈছে this is the with classical federation classical মানে class মানে কি divide কৰা ন okay সেইটো কাৰিকে হ'ব লাগে The Constitution permits asymmetric federal arrangements for certain reasons. Asymmetric federal arrangements for certain reasons. However, the existence of a single constitution for both United States and is an exceptional exception, exceptionless feature. Existence of single constitution for both Union states. India is an exceptionless feature. দুটো ভুল হ'ব দেই 1 2 3 এইকেইটা কাৰেক্ট হ'ব so A 2 and 3 হে কাৰেক্ট হ'ল the constitution of India is federal in form বোলে federal in nature federal in spirit কেনেকৈ আছিলে এইটো পাহৰি থাকিলোঁ নাজানো দেখোন the 1 and 2 only correct বোলে oh, sorry 2 and 3 only B এইটো ভুলি থাকিলোঁ কি কৈছে this price is often quoted but it is not a precise constitutional characterization accepted universally and the Supreme Court has described India as a federation with a strong center not merely unitary in spirit The Supreme Court has described India as a federation. India is a federation with a strong center, not merely unitary in spirit. Strong center, however, unitary in spirit, directly unitary, no spirit or capital. Center is strong, but that is strong as well, but not unitary, like single-handed, no. So maybe that's very incorrect. In classical federations, such as the United States, classical federation, United States, constituent units generally enjoy greater territorial security. Special constitutional arrangements have existed for different reasons at different times, reflecting asymmetric federalism. The former state of Jammu and Kashmir had its own constitution before constitutional changes in 2019. The former state of Jammu and Kashmir had its own constitution before constitutional changes in 2019. 2 and 3 are correct. Okay, question 13. Early Buddhist literature was composed entirely in Pali. Entirely Pali ভাষাত লিখিছিলে নেকি early Buddhist literature? Early Buddhist literature to entirely Pali কৈছে Pali ভাষাত লিখা আছিল নেকি জানি এতিয়া Buddhist to Sanskrit লিখা আছিল ন So entirely কৈছে entirely হ'লে direct ভুল হ'ব so one statement is incorrect. One is incorrect. One so to the set no 2 3 no 2 3 4 so 3 to correct one and so Buddhist monastic establishments often developed along important trade routes. Buddhist monastic establishments often developed প্ৰায়ে কৈছে ন along important trade routes হ'ব পাৰে so 2 3 4 হ'ব correct এতে হ'ব C হ'ব oh my god 2 3 4 আছিলে মই 4 টো চাব লাগিছিলে মই 3 টো চাইছো ন Buddhist councils were convened exclusively মই 4 টো চাব লাগিছিলে mistake কৰি দিলো না Buddhist councils were convened exclusively to zero the exclusive word আছে ন no Buddhist texts were preserved in Pali, Prakrit, Sanskrit, Tibetan, Chinese translations. The Bodhisattva ideal is central to Mahayana thought. Bodhisattva ideal Mahayana total Buddhist Mahayana Hinayana. Okay. Monasteries frequently emerged along commercial networks due to patronage from merchants. Monasteries frequently emerged along commercial networks due to patronage from merchants. Okay. Councils addressed multiple issues: discipline, canon, compilation, organization, doctrine, not exclusively doctrinal disputes. Okay. तो क्या है ना? Question 14. With reference to the monsoon system over the Indian subcontinent, consider the following statements. এনেকুৱা কুৱেশ্যন কাটিব লাগে, ইমান ভাল কুৱেশ্যন কাটিছে, ভাল লাগিছে মানে। Differential heating of land and sea alone is sufficient to explain the Indian monsoon. No. Heating of land and sea alone is sufficient to explain Indian monsoon. No. This is not correct. Orographical area আছে ন, বহুত কিবা কিবি আছে। So one is not correct. If one is not correct, then 2, 3, or 4, I should check 4. The Indian Ocean dipole may influence, yes, monsoon rainfall independently of ENSO conditions. Independently. Correct hobo. So 2, 3, 4. Egeda hobo. C. Yes, just the correct answer. বাকি এটা কি কৈ আছে এইটো চাব লাগিছিলে ন। সি মানে 2, 3, 4 নহয়। The Tibetan plateau contributes to monsoon dynamics through thermal forcing. Okay. Variations in Eurasian snow cover. Eurasian snow cover can influence monsoon strength. Eurasian snow cover bilago mane effect kore no monsoon. The Indian Ocean dipole Indian Ocean dipole mane kite separate kora duta bhagot mane eastern northern and southern part may influence monsoon rainfall influence independently of NSO conditions. Okay. Modern climatology rejects this oversimplification. Yes. বহুত কেইটা মানে ডাইভাৰ্ছ মানে কি মেকানিজম আছে ন মনচুন মানে হেৰি কৰাৰ কাৰণে, ইনফ্লুৱেঞ্চ কৰাৰ কাৰণে ন। মনচুন ইনভলভছ intertropical convergence zone migration. Monsoon involves intertropical convergence zone migration. Tibetan heating, jet stream যিবিলাক বহুত মানে হাই কি কয় তাক হাই অল্টিটিউডত মানে ষ্ট্ৰীম হয়, ষ্টৰ্ম হয়, মানে ষ্টৰ্ম জেট কি কৈছে জেট ষ্ট্ৰীমছ মানে ষ্টৰ্ম নিচিনা হয়, ধুমুহাৰ নিচিনা হয়, ষ্ট্ৰীম বুলি কৈছে ন। নিজৰা নিচিনা নহয়। ENSO এইটো নাজানো দে। Indian Ocean dipole এইটো স্নো কাভাৰ ফিডবেক্স এইবিলাকো এফেক্ট কৰে চব ইণ্ডিয়ান মনচুনৰ ওপৰত। Thermal forcing of activity is a major contributor. Okay. Heavy snow cover can weaken summer heating and affect circulation. Heavy snow cover weaken summer heating কমি যায় ন, affect circulation to affect কৰি দিয়ে। Positive Indian Ocean dipole years may enhance monsoon rainfall even during El Nino years draft condition কৰে বুলি কয় কিন্তু okay. Positive Indian Ocean dipole years may enhance monsoon rainfall even during El Nino years. To Indian Ocean dipole year বুলি কয় ন, কেনেকৈ dipole 2, 3, 4 are correct. Consider the following statements regarding the concept of public goods economics. Public goods economics. A public good is non-renewable in consumption. A public good is non-renewable in consumption. চবে খাব পাৰে কোনো বাধা বিঘিনি নাই নেকি পাব্লিক গুড চবে খাব পাৰে মানে ইউজ কৰিব পাৰে ন পাব্লিক গুডছ খাব পাৰে নন ৰিভেবল ইন কনজাম্পশ্যন খাব পাৰে পাব্লিক গুড ইজ নট এক্সক্লুডেবল ইন কনজাম্পশ্যন পাব্লিক গুড ইজ নন এক্সক্লুডেবল ইন কনজাম্পশ্যন এক্সক্লুড কৰিব পাৰে নেকি এক্সক্লুড কৰিব নোৱাৰি তাৰমানে চবে ব্যৱহাৰ কৰিবই লাগিব মানে কৰিব পাৰে নেশ্যনেল ডিফেন্স ইজ জেনেৰেলি cited as a pure public good নেশ্যনেল ডিফেন্স ইজ জেনেৰেলি pure public good বোলে চবে উপভোগ কৰিব লাগিব নেকি মানে চবে ব্যৱহাৰ কৰিব নেশ্যনেল ডিফেন্স pure public good হ'ব পাৰে every good provided by the government is necessarily a public good হ'ব নোৱাৰে every হ'ব নোৱাৰে ফৰটো হ'ব নোৱাৰে 1 to 3 A হ'ব yes A is the correct answer one person's consumption does not reduce availability to others individuals cannot easily be excluded from benefiting benefit national defense is the textbook example government may provide public goods merit goods private goods club goods public goods merit goods private goods club goods merit goods কিবা এইবিলাক সব ইউজ কৰিব নোৱাৰে নহয় government provision does not define a public good government a public good define নকৰে 16 কি আছে with reference to the ecological succession consider the following statements ecological succession চাৰিটা statement দিছে ন বঢ়িয়া APSC UPSC কুৱেশ্যনত কেইটা statement আছে তিনিটা আছিলে তাৰপিছত আৰু বেলেগ অপশ্যন দিছিলে চাৰিটা statement দি দিছে এটা আছে UPSC চাৰিটা আছে কিছুমান তিনিটা আছে কিন্তু লিংক কৰি দিছে বস্তুবিলাক statement টান কৰা সহজ কৰা এইটোৱে কথা primary succession begins in an area previously devoid of soil yes primary succession area previously devoid of soil মাটি নাছিলে ন তো কাৰেক্ট হ'ব secondary succession generally proceeds faster than primary succession এইটো কাৰেক্ট হয় এইটো পাইছোঁ মই আগতে ecological succession always culminates in a stable climate community that remains unchanged thereafter ecological succession always culminates in a stable climate community that remains unchanged after it always decided to follow away disturbances can reset succession at various stages reset succession এইটো হ'ব so 1 to 4 হ'ব 1 to 4 C হ'ব yes মানে আকৌ এবাৰ ন হেৰি কৰা মানে ফাৰ্ষ্ট ছাকচেছন ষ্টাৰ্ট প্ৰাইমেৰী ছাকচেছন ডেট ইজ লাভ অফ লছ হ'ব নিউলি এক্সপ'জড ৰক ছাৰ্ফেচৰ পৰা হ'ব soil already exists enabling soil should exist কৰে enabling quicker recovery এইটো হ'ল secondary succession ন primary succession এইটো lava flow newly exposed rock সেইবিলাক soilটো যেতিয়া থাকে তাৰপিছত যেতিয়া soilৰ ওপৰত কি হয় Politics sustainable and quicker recovery. Secondary one. Modern ecology doesn't view climate communities as permanently stable. Ecosystems remain dynamic. Fire, floods, storms, invasive species, human activities can reset. Succession, okay. There is consider following statements. The Attorney General of India has the right to participate in proceedings of Parliament. Yes, this is correct. Attorney General has the right to vote. Vote their right name. So 2 is not correct. 2 is not correct. 2 is not correct. So 2 it was a, so only A is the correct answer. 2 is the correct no hai. A correct answer. A option. Kiki question no. 1, 3, 4. 1, 3, 4 Attorney General to participate koro para Parliament. The Attorney General holds office during the pleasure of President. Yes. The qualifications for appointment as Attorney General are the same as those for a judge of the Supreme Court. Supreme Court judge mane hoy no qualification how to become an Attorney General. The Attorney General may participate in Parliament proceedings, participation, but not voting right. Okay. Holds office during President's pleasure. Qualifications are identical to those required for appointment as a Supreme Court judge. The full instruments ecosystem services include both tangible and intangible benefits required from ecosystem. Ecosystem services include both tangible and intangible benefits derived from ecosystems. However, touching and touching, touchable and touchable, tangible and tangible, both tangible and intangible. Okay, pollination is classified as a regulating ecosystem service. Pollination is classified as a regulating ecosystem service. Yes. Nutrient cycling is classified as a supporting ecosystem service. Nutrient cycling. Okay, supporting ecosystem service. Yes. Carbon sequestration is generally regarded as a provisioning ecosystem service. Provisioning carbon sequestration. That is a provisioning ecosystem service. However, some services include both tangible and intangible. Okay. So all are correct. All statements are correct. T no hai. B hai all. 1, 2 and 3 hai. 4 to no hai. Carbon sequestration is generally regarded as a provisioning. Generally regarded provisioning ecosystem. I don't know this. So I made mistake here. Includes food, water, climate regulation, recreation, pollination regulates ecosystem functioning, nutrient cycling, supports all other ecosystem services. Carbon sequestration is generally categorized as a regulating service or provisional certificate. No. Provisioning certificate. No. Regulating certificate kuntu asile. Nutrient cycling. No. That is pollination and carbon sequestration. Regulating service or provision. Okay. Reference to the Sangam is considered following instruments. High level ancient India Sangam, South Indian Sangam literature provides evidence of long distance maritime trade with a whole like a day. I think this can be correct. References to Yavanas occur in Sangam texts. The economy reflected in Sangam literature was exclusively agrarian. Kenika agrarian over here? Exclusively agrarian to over here. But due to fishing business, ship business. So 3 is not correct. Sangam literature complex information about social stratification and political. It is social or political organization. So 1, 2, and 4. 1, 2, and 4. 1, 2, and 4 B. Yes. To all easy hoy manatan honai. Trade with Mediterranean regions is evident. Mediterranean region or trade kora ase. So exclusively agrarian no. Yavanas are mentioned frequently. Okay, Yavanas, Sangam literature. No, economy included agriculture, trade, pastoralism, fishing. That is provides rich information on society and polity. Research. To Assam or consider the fall instruments regarding the flood plains of the Brahmaputra Valley. It is easy. Annual flooding is uniformly detrimental to ecological productivity. Terms like hard করে দিছে এইটো মেইন কথা easy নহয়. Annual flooding is uniformly detrimental to ecological productivity. Uniformly মানে একেদৰে detrimental হয় সব ক্ষেত্ৰতে ন annual মানে বছৰে বছৰে সবটা বছৰতে একেদৰে ক্ষতি হয় কিন্তু different হ'ব ন uniformly detrimental to ecological productivity. হয়তো হয় বাট ইউনিফৰ্ম হ'ব নেকি ইমান ইউনিফৰ্ম নহ'ব নহয় চ' বেলেগ বেলেগ সময়ত বেলেগ বেলেগ ক্ষতি হ'ব চ' I don't think this is correct, so it is incorrect. Sediment deposition contributes to soil renewal. Soil renew হয় ন sediment deposition হ'লে হ'ব. River channel migration is an important geographical geomorphological characteristic of the water system. Yes. Structural flood control measures alone can completely eliminate flood risk. Flood control measures. No. Flood control measures simane loa kam nahi. Sorry number 2 and 3 only correct. Only 2 and 3. Yes, correct. Imana house nasile de a sophisticated deposit flooding ecosystem is but also that is replenishes nutrients, sustains wetlands, supports fisheries, fresh alluvium renews soil fertility. The water is known for intense channel migration and channel sense predate channel and bank erosion. That is modern flood management combines structural measures, ecological approaches, forecasting, land use planning. No system can eliminate flood risk entirely. Yes, hence. (21) with reference to the doctrine of basic structure, consider following statements. The doctrine was explicitly incorporated into the Constitution through an amendment after it was maintained case one under the case. Explicit statement to wrong corridor. Parliament's power to amend fundamental rights is subject to basic structure doctrine. Parliament's power to amend fundamental rights is. Judicial review has been held to be a part basic structure judicial review of every provision of the Constitution forms part of the basic structure. Every provision of the Constitution forms part of the basic structure. So explicitly incorporated into the Constitution through an amendment after the judgment. 234 it hobo C 4 to nohoy. Every provision of the Constitution forms part of the basic structure it nohoy to every external no so to follow goal no Anyways, tani asile question to. Basic structure doctrine is a civil doctrine. It is explicitly written into the Constitution. This was the essence of the landmark assessment in Gasmananda Party versus Gasman. Judicial review is constantly recognized as basic structure component. Okay. Not every constitutional provision forms part of the basic structure. Okay. Consider estimates regarding ocean atmosphere interactions. El Nino refers to abnormal warming. El Nino. Yes. In the central border of Pacific Ocean, it is correct. A positive Indian Ocean dipole is characterized by warmer western Indian Ocean water relative to the eastern Bobare. Positive Indian Ocean dipole events always offset the monsoon impact of El Nino. It always too impossible of the So ENSO influences atmospheric circulation beyond the Pacific Ocean. Okay, it is possible over 1 to 4 হবে নাকি I don't know 1 to 4 হবে না 1 to 2 correct হয় oh abnormal warming abnormal হবে নাকি abnormal তো বেশি হবে নাকি 2 and 4 মাত্র হবে নাকি 2 and 4 আছে না 2 and 4 abnormal warming okay 1 to 4 B হবো B yes is the correct answer abnormal warming করে দেন না eastern and central equatorial Pacific Ocean El Nino. Positive Indian Ocean dipole involves warmer western Indian Ocean and cooler eastern warmer western India warmer থাকে and eastern Indian Ocean that is cooler থাকে no Indian Ocean dipole Indian Ocean dipole positive may offset El Nino but not always okay El Nino to El Nino no El Nino SO has teleconnections affecting weather worldwide teleconnection also worldwide weather with reference to medieval Indian history. The Ekta system under the Delhi Sultanate represented assignment of revenue rights rather than ownership of land. Assignment of revenue rights, ownership of land, Ekta system. Over assignment of revenue rights, then ownership. Iqtidars were expected to maintain troops for the Sultan. Iqtidar bilake Punno bahine kurছিলে niki hobo pare under all Delhi sultans Iqtidars enjoyed hereditary rights over the Asian territory all to it nohobo the central authority periodically transferred Iqtidars to prevent local engagement periodically transferred Iqtidars to transferred 3 to 2 hobo নোৱাৰে no 3 to 2 hobo নোৱাৰে 1 to 4 নহ'লে 1 4 periodically transferred ignorance to prevent হ'ব পাৰে 1 to 4 হ'ব A হ'ব A আজা ইউজ A কারেক্ট হবে এটাই কারেক্ট হল revenue assignment not land ownership okay data to revenue assignment আছিল land ownership নহয় military obligations were central military obligation asile no data bilake sultanok দিব লাগিছিলে military troop hereditary claims were generally discouraged hereditary claim nasile ekane amat frequent transfers prevented emergence of independent power centers prevented independent power centers with the full statements regarding India's fiscal framework fiscal deficit measures total borrowing requirements of the government fiscal deficit total borrowing requirements of the government fiscal deficit মানে borrowing borrow মানে ধার মানে liability হইছে no fiscal deficit measures total borrowing requirements of the government just total borrowing requirements of the government yes হ'ব পাৰে এইটো correct হ'ব লাগে revenue deficit implies dissolving by the government should implies dissaving by the government itu wasn't like but dissaving not saving but investing type of na by the government itu hobo lagito the government may have fiscal deficit even when revenue deficit is zero revenue deficit zero সত্ত্বেও fiscal deficit থাকিব পাৰে হ'ব পাৰে reduction in capital expenditure is always the preferred method of fiscal consolidation reduction in capital expenditure is always this is so it incorrect হৈ যাব ন 1 2 3 1 2 3 B হ'ব correct answer B হৈ থাকিলে নহ'ব অনুমান কৰি দিছোঁ আৰু ন fiscal deficit indicates borrowing needs দিবই লাগিব fiscal deficit মানে ধাৰ লাগি থকা revenue deficits revenue expenditure exceeding revenue receipts indicates dissaving okay revenue expenditure dissaving খৰচ কৰা borrowing may finance capital expenditure despite zero revenue deficit borrowing may finance capital expenditure despite zero revenue deficit cutting productive capital expenditure may harm long-term growth productive expenditure to long harm করব না with reference to biodiversity conservation endemic species are necessarily endangered species no this cannot be correct no this is cannot be correct species may be endemic to more than one country no my species can be endemic to more than one country hobo noar na lage to no endemic mane eta jaga the to jaga to lage ne hobo to no hobo biodiversity hotspots are identified partly on the basis of endemism yes areas with high species richness automatically qualify as biodiversity hotspot no so eta metro correct thakile dekhun only 3 correct question no 3 to correct hoy 4 to no hoy 4টোতো নহয় so 2 and 3 হ'ব লাগে এন্ডেমিকটো more than one country হ'ব পাৰে দে 2 and কি আছিলে এইটো 2 and 3 টো স্পেচাৰ আইডেন্টিফাইড এইটো A হ'ব yes the correct answer এনেকুৱা ধৰণৰ কুৱেশ্যন হ'ব লাগে এন্ডেমিক হ'ব পাৰে but endangered হ'ব নহ'ব কোনো কথা নাই species may be restricted to a particular geographical region spanning multiple countries will have a endemic no endemism is a hotspot criterion yes habitat loss is also crucial criterion okay question for estimates regarding the evolution of the earth the oldest oceanic crust is generally much younger than the oldest continental crust আৰু পিনে oceanic crust বোলে নতুন oceanic crust or continental crust which is younger oceanic crust তো বহুত পুৰণি হ'ব লাগে continental crust তো নতুন I don't know ভাই নাজানো তো থাকো oceanic crust is continuously created and destroyed through plate tectonic processes created and destroyed এটোতো কাৰেক্ট হ'ব লাগে তেতিয়াহ'লে oceanic crust is really much younger এটো হ'ব লাগে কাৰেক্ট হ'ব লাগে and into continental crust is denser than oceanic crust ততকে continental crust denser এটো wrong হ'ব লাগে subduction occurs predominantly at convergent plate boundaries yes so 1 2 and 4 হ'ব correct answer 1 2 4 A হ'ব লাগে yes that's the correct answer মানে continental কি কৈছিলে continental crust to oceanic crust তকে younger no কি আছিলে continental crust can exceed 4 billion years oceanic crust rarely 200 million years oceanic crust যেটো oceanic মানে সাগৰত থকা যিবিলাক প্লেট থাকে ন টেকটনিক প্লেট তোৰ প্ৰভাৱত এইবিলাক মানে ভাঙি থাকে সো এইটো বহুত নতুন হয় বাট কন্টিনেন্টাল ক্ৰাষ্ট পুৰণি আছে কন্টিনেন্টাল ক্ৰাষ্ট বহুত পুৰণি হয় 4 billion years ago and oceanic crust that is 200 million years only produced at mid ocean ridges and consumed at subduction zones mid ocean ridges oceanic crust is denser oceanic crust denser hoba no puroni asile continental oceanic crust denser bole eto bujina palo continental crust is continental crust to lighter hoy no oceanic crust is denser compared to continental crust and oceanic crust and that is 200 that is near younger to continental crust okay subduction is characteristic of convergence with reference to a home state okay Back system functions as an administrative and military institution. Yes. Labor service, no. Pike obligations were primarily expressed through labor and service. This is the home polity remained completely isolated from Mughal administration influence. Completely isolated ito নহয় 3 is wrong Mughal লগতো হিয়তৰ প্ৰভাৱ আছে Expansion of agriculture played a role in strengthening to double আহিলে questionটো মানে exact নাহে কিন্তু অলপ বেলেগ ধৰণৰ ন so 1 2 and 4 are correct 1 2 and 4 C লাষ্টৰখিনি ACDC দুখন system under main administration and military stabilization mobilization and the labor obligations formed its foundation okay interactions with Mongols led to selective adaptations okay agricultural expansion strengthened once the following statements regarding ecosystem stability resistance and resilience refer to identical ecological properties resistance and resilience identical ecological properties হ'ব পাৰে ecological কোনটো resist কৰে কোনটো resilience an ecosystem with high resilience may recover rapidly after disturbance an ecosystem with high resilience may recover rapidly after disturbance yes this is correct greater biodiversity can enhance resilience under certain conditions greater biodiversity can enhance resilience yes stability necessarily implies absence of change no so 1 2 and 3 1 2 and 3 1 2 3 C নহয় হল so itu full hol more resilience and resilience refer to identical ecosystem ecological properties to resilience to just a property কেনেকৈ হ'ব পাৰে ন the influential so resistance that is ability to withstand disturbance okay that is not property that is ability okay to resistance বস্তুটো just কি ক'ব তাক ability হে to property নহয় হয় species হ'ব পাৰে কিবা হ'ব পাৰে সেইবিলাকে property হ'ব okay ফুল হ'ল ন resistance resilience that is ability to recover yes the positive form of ability okay and this is the definition of resilience diversity can provide functional redundancy yes ecological stability can coexist with dynamic sense yes with reference to parliament's control over the executive consider the following statements parliament's control over executive okay no confidence motion can be moved only in the Lok Sabha no confidence motion matra Lok Sabha te pare niki I don't think so no confidence motion Lok Sabha Rajya Sabha te paribo no Rajya Sabha cannot remove the council of ministers through a no confidence motion eto correct hobo lage dei Rajya Sabha cannot remove a council of minister Rajya Sabha council of minister I do not know hai অলপ বস্তু পৰিমাণ sure কি নাজানো দেই Rajya Sabha cannot remove the council of ministers through no confidence motion to নহব defeat of a government bill automatically amounts to lose the confidence government bill automatically amounts to loss of confidence এটো হয় collective responsibility of the council of ministers is owed to the Lok Sabha এটো হয় for that correct হয় এটো sure for that correct হয় so B to category and what will I select loss of confidence ডিফিট অফ গভৰ্ণমেণ্ট বিল এইটো হ'ব নোৱাৰে নহ'ব পাৰে চ' 3টো কাটি যাব নেকি 1 2 and 4 হ'ব নেকি 1 and 4 only হ'ব নহ'লে বা 1 and 4 only হ'ব 1 and 4 only C 1 to 4 আছিলে চ' ফুল হৈ থাকিল এতিয়া 1 to 4 কাৰেক্ট হয় No conventional motion can be moved only in the Lok Sabha. Okay. No conventional motion only can be moved only in the Lok Sabha. Rajya Sabha cannot remove. Oh, Rajya Sabha to no conventional motion may not it only could not no. Standing a kinaka got a hole. Okay, to Karaga cannot remove. Okay. Defeat of government bills automatically. Collect the responsibility of the consular ministers is ought to the Lok Sabha. Okay. Government survives on Lok Sabha competence. Rajya Sabha cannot dismiss a government. Okay. Rajya Sabha cannot. Only certain defeats may be treated politically as competence issues. Not automatic. Article 75 establishes collective responsibility to Lok Sabha. Consider the following statements. Carbon dioxide is most abundant greenhouse gas in the atmosphere. Carbon dioxide is most abundant carbon dioxide is correct. Water vapor contributes significantly to the natural greenhouse effect. Yes, this is also correct. Methane has a higher warming potential per molecule than carbon dioxide over a given time horizon. It correct question lagi ase. Human-induced increases in carbon dioxide can indirectly influence atmospheric water vapor concentration. Human-induced increases. Human-induced as in carbon dioxide can indirectly influence atmospheric water vapor concentrations. To key over them indirectly induce increases in carbon dioxide can indirectly influence atmospheric water vapor carbon dioxide water vapor concentrations. Heat trap kora hai main kotha I don't know to full hobo lage. Carbon dioxide is the most abundant greenhouse gas in the atmosphere. It is correct hole hai to. Water vapor contributes significantly natural greenhouse effect. This is also correct. Methane has a higher warming potential per molecule than carbon dioxide over a given time horizon. It is no hobo lage tete hole. Human-induced increase in carbon dioxide influence atmospheric water vapor concentration. So it no 3 to no 1 2 and 4. মানে ক্রিটিক্যাল হৈ আছে যদি টুটো নহয় ন্যাচারাল গ্রিনহাউস এফেক্ট টুটো হবই লাগে কারেক্ট হ'ব টুটো ওয়ানও কারেক্ট টুও কারেক্ট 1 and 2 to correct হ'বই Methane is higher, it know over human-induced carbon dioxide can indirectly influence. It don't know about 3 and 4 to know only. Methane carbon dioxide ke bisi over time horizon kise no over a given time horizon to I don't know how 1 2 1 2. Okay, I will go for 1 2 only. 1 to 3 to 9 no 1 to 3 9 1 to 1 to only 1 to full level 2 3 4 hai correct all okay full technically 2 2, 3, 4 What river is the dominant greenhouse gas by abundance and contribution? It is responsible for a large share of the natural greenhouse effect. Methane is substantially more potent molecule carbon dioxide के विषय ना carbon dioxide induced warming increases atmospheric moisture holding capacity created a positive feedback. तो ये तो हुआ निशना लगे ऐसे लेकिन के ना होल ना सुनो भाई. Most abundant greenhouse effect gas to greenhouse gas to it बोलेगे ना carbon dioxide is the most abundant greenhouse gas in the atmosphere. तेरे कौन तो बना सुनो. With reference to the concept of rule of law in India. Rule of law implies absence of arbitrary power. Arbitrary means random, no? Jikono beya type no. Arbitrary rule of law implies absence of arbitrary power. Yes, rule of law requires that all laws enacted Parliament must necessarily be uniform throughout India. I don't know. Equality before law and the equal protection of laws are manifested by the rule of law. The Constitution permits resonance classification without violating rule of law. All says equality before law and equal protection of laws are okay 1, 3, 4 1, 3, 4 A to for school edition elimination Epidices concept emphasizes absence of arbitrary authority. Okay, arbitrary মানে হেৰিটো ৰুলটো অফ হৈ যাব বেয়া নহ'ব ন ৰুল অফ লত নাথাকে মানে uniformity is not necessary. Different states may have different laws. Okay, Article 14 embodies rule of law. Reasonable classification is constitutionally valid. With the following statements regarding river systems, antecedent rivers maintain their course despite tectonic uplift. Antecedent rivers maintain their course despite tectonic rift. Antecedent meaning to know antecedent rivers ki hobo their course despite tectonic uplift. Superimposed rivers establish their courses before underlying geographical or geological structures become exposed. Superimposed rivers, their courses before underlying geological structures become exposed. The Brahmaputra in the Assam exhibits characteristics of braided rivers rarely occur where sediment load is low. No. For to correct no bhai and maintain course despite tectonic lift. For to correct no hoy so 1 to 3 hobo lage 1 to 3 A hobo rite hole A hobo kiba eta easy lagil tothapio. Antecedent rivers cut through rising mountains. Antecedent rivers cut through rising mountains. Okay. Antecedent rivers mane damar mountain pore ahe. Rivers maintain their course despite tectonic rifts. Okay. Classic definition of superimposed drainage. The Brahmaputra is one of the world's major braided rivers. Okay, braided usually occurs with high sediment load, unstable channels. Yes. With reference to the Bhakti movement, okay, Bhakti saints uniformly rejected temple worship. Bhakti saints temple worship to reject Kore, no? Uniformly, uniform to no jaga jaga beleg beleg hobo. Kisumanok temple worship koribo pare. So uniform, I don't think this is correct. Vernacular languages played a major role in the spread of. Yes, it hoy. Vernacular languages mane nijosor native language, no? It correct hoy. Bhakti traditions emerged in different regions with significant doctrinal diversity. Okay. The movement contributed to wider spatial participation in religious life and contributed to wider social participation. Yes, this is also correct. But 2, 3, 4, all are correct. But Bhaktisians uniformly rejected temple worship, not correct. Temple worship to accept কৰা নাছিলে মানে নকৰিছিলে তথাপিও so C হ'ব লাগে yes C is the correct কাৰণ কিছুমানে temple worship কৰিব পাৰে ন Bhakti movement many Bhaktisians accepted temple worship yes কিছুমানে কৰিছিলে but it was not a single uniform movement okay a widened participation beyond elite circles okay What's the four instruments regarding inflation targeting? Okay. Flexible inflation targeting allows some consideration of growth and output stabilization. Flexible inflation targeting allows some consideration of growth and output stabilization. Okay, inflation targeting assumes that monetary policy can directly control food production. No. This cannot be correct. Encouraging inflation expectations is an important stick of inflation targeting. Yes. Supply side shocks may create policy dilemmas under inflation targeting framework. 2 correct no hobo. Baki 1, 3, 4 correct hobo lage 1, 3, 4 A hobo to. A hobo lage yes A. Modern frameworks are flexible rather than rigid. Flexible or no, and rigid kyo hobo. Monetary policy cannot directly encourage food output. Expectations management is central. Food and fuel shocks often create difficult trade-offs. Yes. With reference to ecological niches or meaning to ki asle power thikilo mai ecological niche two species can indefinitely occupy exactly the same ecological niche in the same habitat. Two species can etu hobo noare. Realized niche is usually narrower than the fundamental niche. However, competition can influence niche differentiation. Competition can, yes, this is correct. So 1 is not correct. So 2 and 3 must be correct. Ecological niche refers only to the physical location occupied. So 4 is not correct. 4 and 1. Two species can indefinitely occupy exactly the same ecological niche in the same habitat. indefinitely কৈছে ন definitely to কোৱা নাই so 1 2 and 3 can be correct can be no same needs হ'ব পাৰে 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 নাই so 2 and 3 only a হ'ব লাগে yes a correct answer হৈ থাকিলে মানে দুটা স্পেচিছ একেটা নেচাৰ হ'ব নোৱাৰে ন কিবা কৈছিলে পাহৰি থাকিলোঁ কি কৈছিলে চাওক এবাৰ কি কৈছিলে two species can indefinitely occupy exactly the same ecological niche in the same habitat no ecological niche same ecological niche no competitive inclusion principle apply কৰে competitive exclusion হয় ন principle competition হয় না কিছুমান exclude কিছুমান include competition reduces actual niche occupancy okay resource partitioning is common niche includes ecological role not merely location ecological role normally location okay because the four statements regarding Parliament of India joint sitting can be summoned for an ordinary bill ordinary bill or joint sitting হয় নেকি no joint sitting can be summoned for a constitutional amendment bill হ'ব পাৰে তো দুটা হ'ব পাৰে ordinary billৰ কাৰণে হ'ব পাৰে a joint sitting can be summoned for a money bill yes can be summoned মানে হ'ব লাগে into 2 and 3 can be correct but ordinary billor karone nohoy niki and the speaker of Lok Sabha presides over a joint sitting speaker of Lok Sabha joint sitting hole Lok Sabha to Lok Sabha speaker to er kore no 2 3 4 hobo niki 2 3 4 9 2 3 hobo niki deta hole okay I will give for 2 3 only okay 2 3 only b this hole hole no 1 and 4 correct hoy 1 and 4 correct hoy এটা correct নহয় মোৰ যোনটো ফলো এটা উল্টা হৈছে পুৰা reverse as joint sitting can be summoned for an ordinary bill as joint sitting cannot be summoned for a constitutional amendment bill as joint sitting cannot be summoned for a money bill again the speaker of the Lok Sabha presides over a joint sitting 1 and 4 are correct okay to politically Article 108 provides for joint sittings, no joint sitting for constitutional amendments. Okay, money bills bypass such as mechanism, not by joint sitting. A speaker presides. Okay. With reference to plate tectonics, consider the following statements. Plate tectonics, the ocean কি আছিলে? Ocean crust বিলাকো carry কৰে ন plate tectonic বিলাকে break up কৰে divergent plate boundaries are associated with crustal creation divergent plate boundaries are associated with crustal creation yes convergent plate boundaries are always associated with continental collision always নহ'ব পাৰে না হ'ব পাৰে নেকি I don't think হ'ব পাৰে so transform boundaries are characterized predominantly by horizontal movement earthquakes occur near plate boundaries yes true for the correct hoye ফটোটো correct হয় ন এটা কাটা গেল তো কোনটো আছিল অলওয়েজ টু কোড আছিল অলওয়েজ টু টু নাই অলওয়েজ কলেজন 2 2 9 4 1 3 4 422 correct হয় 134 হ'ব লাগে Transform boundaries are characterized predominantly by horizontal movement. Okay. Itu A di দিও এয়া কৰে বল কিয় ইজি কৰি দিছে আকৌ এবাৰ Mid ocean ridges create crust. Mid ocean ridges বিলাকে crust create কৰে Many convergent boundaries involve oceanic plates. Convergent boundaries involve oceanic. Okay. Transform faults exhibit lateral displacement. Okay. Earthquake concentration near plate margins is a key observation. Plate margin earthquake. With reference to the Mongol conflicts, control of Brahmaputra River had both strategic and economic significance. Brahmaputra Valley. Strategic or economic significance? Yes. The Battle of Saraika demonstrated the importance of riverine warfare. Yes. Success depended solely on no geographical advantages. No. Leadership played an important role in shaping military outcomes. Yes. 1, 2, and 4 are correct. 1, 2, and 4 B. 2 was the same. Document. Leadership logistics like no. Organization matter leadership matter no. Consider the following statements regarding greenhouse gases. Greenhouse gases are nitrous oxide is a greenhouse gas. Yes, correct. Methane contributes to tropospheric ocean formation. Ocean formation this through atmospheric chemistry. However, ozone that is water vapor acts only as a climate feedback and never a forcing. No. Carbon dioxide remains in the climate system for much longer than methane. Carbon dioxide remains in the climate system for much longer than methane. Yes. One and two to correct way, but 1 and 2 correct way. 1 and 1, 2 and 4 hobo. A hobo. কি ইমান সহজ কৰি দিব লাগিছে মই ধৰিব পৰা নাই দেই ইজি হ'ব লাগিছে দেখোন বস্তুখিনি At nitrous oxide is a potent greenhouse gas. Methane chemistry contributes to ozone formation. Water vapor is primarily a feedback, but the statement never makes it wrong. CO2 carbon dioxide persists much longer in the climate. Much longer that is in the climate system. Okay. With reference to biodiversity conservation in India, consider following instruments. Every national park is a protected area. Every national park. National park protected area. Every protected area is a national park. Ito no hai. 2 is not correct. So where there is no 2, ita. So A hoy. Eta matro ase no. 1, 2, 1, 3, 4. Eta hobo. So 2 jod nai. Ye correct answer hol. Baki kita sao. Moi nijor karone. A biosphere reserve may contain national parks and wildlife sanctuaries. Biosphere reserve, national park, wildlife sanctuary, do have a plan. Core zones of biosphere reserves are generally intended for strict conservation. Core zones for Core zones by the spear reserves are generally intended for strict conservation. Okay, core zone below strict conservation or the rule taken. Core zone below buffer zone, transition zone, Nikiba. Below the monetary human settlement, but human activity solar or no. National parks are category of protected areas. Yes. Okay. Conservation reserves, that is community reserves. Many biosphere reserves include existing protected areas. Core zones prioritize ecological protection. Yes. With reference to the Election Commission of India, the Constitution originally provided for a multi-member election commission. Election commission not multi-member আছিলে ন প্ৰথমতে 6টা নে 5টা আছিলে ন আজিকালিতো 3টাই থাকে provided for a multi-member yes হ'ব পাৰে correct হ'ব পাৰে the State Election Commissioner and election commissioners enjoy identical constitutional protection regarding removal ক্ষেত্ৰত constitutional protection to থাকে ইহঁতৰ থাকিব কিয় নাথাকিব তাৰ কাৰণেতো ৰিমুভ কৰিব নোৱাৰে The election commission's powers are derived not only from statute but also directly from the Constitution. Commission's powers are direct. The Supreme Court has recognized that the Election Commission may act in areas where legislation is silent, provided such action is consistent with the Constitution. Election Commission may act in areas where legislation is silent, provided such action is consistent in the Constitution. I don't know any Supreme Court legislation Pareto, the Supreme Court has recognized that the Election Commission may act in areas where yes, it do way. গোটেইকেইটা কারেক্ট পালোচোন দিয়ে হ'ব লাগে নেকি দিয়ে দি দিওঁ হ'লে হ'ল নহ'লে নাই ইয়াতে ফুল হ'ল only 3 and 4 কারেক্ট হয় The Constitution originally provided to multi-member election commission board the election commissioner and enjoy identical constitutional protection regarding removal constitutional protection identical The Election Commission's powers are derived not only from statute but also directly from the Constitution. Okay. The Supreme Court has recognized that the Election Commission may act in areas where legislation is silent, provided such action is consistent. Okay, Constitution. Multi-member national election commissioner and election commissioners enjoy identical don't enjoy identical constitutional protection regarding removal of the protection. The Constitution provided for an election commission, but not necessarily a permanent multi-member body. Initially, it functioned as a single-member commission is best, no? Constitution provided for an election commission, necessarily a permanent, a single-member commission, election commission matras. The civil election commissioner enjoys stronger removal protection, but Other election commissioners cannot be removed except with the recommendation of the civil election commissioner, but the constitutional procedure differs. Constitutional procedure differ, হয় ন বেলেগ বেলেগ constitutional এইটো অলপ different হয় ন এটা identical question ন same no different methods are there. Okay. Article 324 directly vests powers in civil election commissioner. Article powers of civil election Article 324. The Supreme Court has repeatedly interpreted Article 324 broadly. Okay. Because the four estimates regarding the Himalayan mountain system, the Himalayas are still rising due to ongoing tectonic conversions. Yes, the Greater Himalaya is generally composed of older crystalline rocks than the shibboleths. No, this is not correct. The shibboleth range consists largely of unconsolidated to weakly consolidated sediments. Okay. Correct হ'ব পাৰে. The Himalayas were formed primarily due to subduction of the Indian plate beneath the Eurasian plate. Ito হয়. Two correct নহয়, so 1, 3, and 4. 1, 3, and 4. 1, 3, and 4. I don't know. Two over tectonic conversions. Wanted to correct whole again. Greater Himalayas generally composed of older crystalline rocks. 1, 2, 3. The Himalayas were formed primarily due to subduction of the Indian plate beneath the Eurasian plate. To হ'ব লাগে তো 4 হ'ব লাগে তো তাৰমানে ষ্টিল ৰাইজিং টেকটনিক কনভাৰ্জেন্সৰ কাৰণে হৈ আছে এইটো নহয় তাৰমানে চ' চিটোৱে কাৰেক্ট হ'ব যেন লাগি আছে ন অল অফ দেম আৰ কাৰেক্ট অৰ হোৱাট অল অফ দেম আৰ কাৰেক্ট হ'ব নেকি অল অফ দেম আৰে হ'ব দিয়ে হ'ব লাগে তো তেতিয়াহ'লে অনলি ওৱানে কাৰেক্ট চাৰিটো নহয় The Himalayas were formed primarily due to subduction to Noe. Convergence continues today also. Greater Himalayas contain ancient metamorphic and crystalline rocks. Ancient rocks in the Greater Himalayan. Older crystalline rocks and shibboleths are composed largely of younger sediments. Okay. The Himalayas recently resulted mainly from continental collision, not classic oceanic subduction. Himalayas resulted mainly from continental collision, not classic oceanic subduction. Collision or subduction the Himalayas were formed primarily due to continental collision, not subduction of the Indian plate and beneath the Eurasian plate. With reference to the Mughal emperor, the following statements. Mansabdari ranks determined both status and military obligations. Military and Mansabdari military archite status military obligations. Zagirs assigned to Mansabdars generally represented revenue assignments rather than reserved and Zagir. review secretary revenue na ownership. Okay, every ownership national retail no. Every month chapter naturally held checker at all times. It's to know frequent transfer of checkers was intended partly to prevent the emergence of autonomous regional power centers. 1, 2, and 4 hobo correct. 1, 2, and 4 B hobo. B hobo. Olego no ole. B correct answer. Conceptors reflected rank and military responsibility. Checkers were revenue assignments. Revenue ownership or no. Not all conceptors necessarily held checkers continuously. Conceptors held checkers. Okay. Transfers limited local transmit. Consider for instruments regarding ecological pyramids. Pyramid of numbers is always upright. Always upright. Numbers always upright. Yes, this is correct. Pyramid of energy is always upright. Energy upright energy. Pyramid of biomass may be inverted in aquatic ecosystems. Pyramid of biomass inverted in aquatic ecosystems. Energy transfer between trophic levels is generally inefficient. Energy transfer between trophic levels is generally inefficient. Energy transfer between trophic levels is generally inefficient. I don't know why. NASA no. এইটো নহ'ব পায় 2, 3, 4 হ'ব লাগে দেই এয়ে হ'ব ইয়াতে য়েছ কাৰণ এ বেছিকৈ करेक्ट आंसर है ऐसे forest ecosystems में show inverted pyramids of numbers inverted over always upright no over so energy pyramids are always upright due to energy loss energy pyramids are always energy loss करने upright है energy pyramid aquatic ecosystems may have inverted biomass pyramids aquatic ecosystems may have inverted biomass pyramids only a fraction of energy is transferred backward only a fraction of energy is transferred only a fraction of energy is transferred to the India's federal system okay residuary legislative powers belong to parliament residuary legislative powers belong to parliament okay the concurrent list was borrowed primarily from the Australian concurrent list yes Australian constitution parliament can legislate on state list subjects under certain constitutional circumstances yes 1, 2, 3 the existence of a concurrent list is unique to India among federations a concurrent list is unique to India even unique federations to 4 to wrong হ'ব লাগে 4 wrong হ'লে কি হ'ব 1, 2, 3 The B of the correct answer B. Unlike the United States residual powers lie with Parliament. The concurrent list concept was influenced by Australia's Article 249, 250, and others permit this. Permit what? Parliament can legislate on the state list or certain circumstances. Several federations have concurrent powers. Okay, unique capable. The poll estimates regarding climate change, global warming refers significantly, specifically, to the increase in Earth's average surface temperature. Global warming refers specifically to the increase in Earth's average surface temperature. Climate change encompasses broader changes in climate patterns beyond temperature alone. Climate change encompasses changes in climate patterns from temperature alone. Yes. Temperature মাত্র প্রভাব না পড়ে বহুত প্রভাব পড়ে না. Sea level rise can result from thermal expansion of seawater. Yes. Melting of floating sea ice contributes substantially to sea level rise. No. So 1 to 3 correct. 1 to 3 A correct all. Man, is it? AQ iman AADM definition of global warming. Climate change includes rainfall, circulation, and extremes. Climate change ke rainfall to hobo, circulation to hobo, extreme to hobo. Extreme and deposition as well. Thermal expansion is a major contributor. Thermal expansion is a contributor of sea level rise. No. Floating ice already displaces water. Okay. With reference to ancient Indian urbanization, the Harappan civilization exhibited evidence of urban planning. Yes. The standardized weights and measures were used across many Harappan sites. Yes. Weights and measures, iron technology formed the basis of iron nasility. Long distance trade networks were associated with Harappan technology. Yes. So 3 is excluded. 1 to 4. 1 to 4 A whole correct answer. QA dia man. I don't know. Plant streets and drainage systems standardized which are key feature. Okay. Harappans belong to the Bronze Age. Yes, Harappans belong to the Bronze Age. Yes. Trade extended to regions including Mesopotamia. Trade is Harappan civilization. Consider 4 instruments regarding wetlands. Wetlands can act as natural flood buffers. Yes. Yes. Flood response, water response. Wetlands support significant biodiversity. Yes. Wetlands naturally remain permanently inundated throughout the year. Necessarily remain permanently inundated. কেতিয়াবা ডুবিয়ে যাব পাৰে ন ৱেটলেণ্ডবিলাক কেতিয়াও নুডুবে নেকি I don't think this is correct. Wetlands can contribute to groundwater research under certain conditions. Groundwater research karone help pare no. So 1, 2 and 4 are correct. 1, 2 and 4 B. B is the correct answer. Wetlands absorb excess water. Yes. Among the most productive ecosystems, many wetlands are seasonal. Seasonal wetlands groundwater research is a recognized function. Yes. 49. With reference to the governor of a state. Okay. The governor is constitutionally bound to act on the aid and advice of the Council of Ministers In all circumstances, no, this is not correct. Sub circumstances bound নহয় advice মানে কি ক'ব মিনিষ্টাৰ্ছৰ এডভাইচ মানিবৰ কাৰণে কেবিনেট মিনিষ্টাৰ নহয় cabinet কি ক'ব council of ministers yes it is not correct. The governor possesses certain discretionary powers. Yes, reservation of a bill for consideration of the president may involve gubernatorial discretion. I don't know this one. The office of governor is an important link in this federal structure. The office of governor is an important link in the federal structure. Yes, this is correct, but 2, 3, 4 hobo correct. See hobo. Belek bhabi dorkar nei. Karon iman easy ke dei na. Elimination ta easy hoy. The governor has limited discretionary powers. Okay. Limited as no. Certain constitutional situations allow discretion. Bill reservation is an important example. Bill reservation at revision of a bill for consideration of the president may involve gubernatorial discretion. Constitutional situations allow discretion. Bill reservation is an important example. Governor serves as a constitutional link between India and state. Governor serves as a constitutional link. Yes. Very difficult, busy style conceptual question. Okay, let's see how difficult it is. Sustainable development requires balancing economic growth. Balancing economic growth, yes. Environmental protection and social equality, yes. This is correct. Intergenerational equity implies that future generations should not be deprived of environmental resources due to present actions. Intergenerational equity. Sustainable development is environmental resources due to present actions. However, to terms to economic growth and environmental conservation are always mutually incompatible objectives. Sustainable development necessarily implies zero economic growth. No. For correct noise, sustainable development necessarily implies zero economic growth. Sustainable development hole je economic growth no hobo itu kotha na. So 4 is incorrect. Economic growth and environmental conservation are always mutually incompatible objects. Economic growth or environmental conservation mutually incompatible. Itu ভালদৰে বুজিব নেকি বস্তুখিনি economic growth হ'ব তেতিয়া environment conservation হয় economic growth তো বহুত বেছি কম হয় না always mutual incompatible objectives. Yes, this is correct. Competition নহয় ইহঁতৰ মাজত but it is a process of coexistence type of cooperation. Yes. Development naturally implies zero economic growth. It নহয় 4 to নহয় আমরা কোনটো চাম 1 to 3 হ'ব C হ'ব C নহয় so 1 and 2 okay economic growth and environment always to so কাৰণে সদায় নহয় ন and capital objectives. Okay, fully goal. This is the criteria of sustainable development. Intergenerational equity is foundational principle for the future generation for equal opportunity for resources. The word always makes the statement untenable. Okay, sustainable development is not synonymous with zero growth. Okay. Question 51 with reference to the preamble of the Constitution of India. The preamble is a source of substantive powers of the organs of the state. Preamble power of substantive powers of the power source. No. The preamble may be used as an aid in constitutional interpretation when the text of the Constitution is ambiguous. Yes. To correct operate the words socialist, secular, and integrated were inserted by the Constitution for the Second Amendment Act. Socialist, secular, and integrated. Yes. The preamble forms part of the Constitution according to judicial interpretation. Forms the Constitution to judicial interpretation. Preamble is source of substantive powers of the state of Constitution. One is not correct, so 2, 3, 4, these are correct. A. Yes. Okay. And 76 judicial 42nd Amendment. Socialist, secular, and integrated. Kismananda Bharti case. The statements regarding the geomorphology of Brahmaputra River to Aquaver DC. The Brahmaputra carries one of the highest sediment loads measured world rivers. Yes, the river exhibits extensive variety due to high sediment deposition and fluctuating discharge. Extensive braiding. River islands in the Brahmaputra are entirely stable geomorphic features. Entirely not correct. The link to channel migration. So 3 to know 1, 2, 4. C. Easy to say. 53 with reference to Jainism. Mahavira was the founder of Jainism. Mahavira. Mahavira হয় নেকি না নহয় Jainism পাহৰি গ'লো ইমান সোনকালে পাহৰিলোঁ Jain tradition recognizes a succession of Tirthankaras before Mahavira. Yes, a succession of before Mahavira Tirthankara আছিলে তেতিয়াহ'লেতো 1 to full হ'ব 2 to যদি বাৰু আমি যাওঁ go base central place and yes Jainism denies the existence of karma. Karma deny করে নাকি Jainism? I don't think so. It's full. So 4 is wrong. 2 and 3 है correct होना क्या? 2 and 3 only. Yes, A. A होना क्या? Correct answer. Yes. কি কৈছে Mahavira founder Jain ধৰ্মৰ founder নাছিলে Jain ধৰ্মৰ founder এতে দিব ৰ'ব ছাৰ Mahavira was 42nd 42nd নহয় 24th Tirthankara not the founder. Jain tradition recognizes earlier Tirthankaras. Okay. Ahimsa fundamental. Jainism strongly emphasizes karma. Yes. Statements monetary policy transmission. Changes in policy rates may influence leading and deposit rates in the economy. Changes in policy rates may influence lending and rates in the country. Yes. Monetary transmission can be affected by banking sector health. Transmission can be affected by banking sector health. Yes. Monetary Policy affects aggregate demand partly through credit channels. Monetary policy affects aggregate demand partly through credit channels. Credit. How about monetary transmission is always immediate and complete. No, 1, 2, and 3 correct. That is B. Women who shows this. Policy rates influence market rates. Okay. Weak banking systems may impair transmission. Yes. Credit availability affects demand. Transmission is always delayed and incomplete. Transmission is often delayed. With reference to ecological succession, pioneer species often pioneer or primary. Pioneer species often modify environmental conditions. Modify environmental conditions. Environmental conditions se pioneer species modify koribo. Ne pioneer species se. I don't think. Lichens can act as pioneer organisms in primary succession. Yes. Lichen primary হ'ব লাগে তো primary হ'ব যেটো মানে cellular কি one cell মানে unicellular no. So etu correct হ'ব পাৰে. Secondary succession begins where a biological community existed previously. Yes. Succession proceeds through identical stages in all ecosystems. Succession proceeds through identical stages in all ecosystems. So 2 and 3 হ'ব লাগে এইটো correct. 2 and 3 আছে না নাই. So 1, 2, 3 সেইটো হ'ব 1, 2, 3 এই হ'ব মানে এইটো কি কৈছিলে pioneer species often modify environmental conditions. Okay. Pioneer species environmental condition to pioneer species alter habitats. Pioneer species habitat environmental conditions change kori dia habitat change kori dia no. Yes, of course that is classic example in a primary succession occurs after disturbance where soil remains. Okay. Part of its barrier across ecosystems. Consider the following statements regarding Parliament and budget process. The annual financial statement is laid before Parliament under Article 112. The annual financial budget. Yes, this is correct. Rajya Sabha can reject a money bill. No. It is political, no? It is 2 আছে. So B is correct answer. Eta metro. So B is the only correct answer. Such expenditure is not submitted to vote in Parliament. Such expenditure is not submitted to vote. And demands for grants are voted only in the Lok Sabha. Demands for grants. Demands for grants. Lok Sabha no. 112 to annual financial statement. Rajya Sabha can only recommend changes again. To money bill no. Recommend changes. Any recommend go but searched expenditure is discussed but not voted. Only Lok Sabha votes on demands for grants. With reference to atmospheric greenhouse gases, consider the following statements. Carbon dioxide is the most important anthropogenic greenhouse gas. Most important anthropogenic greenhouse gas. Carbon dioxide most important hobo pare to. Methane has a shorter atmospheric lifetime than carbon dioxide. Yes. Nitrogen oxide contributes to global. Yes. Water vapor concentrated in the atmosphere is completely independent of temperature. Water vapor concentration in atmosphere is completely independent of temperature. Don't know. It political carbon dioxide is most important atmospheric. It correct hobo lage. A hobo. Q A D S. Asore bhalke olop proshno to bhalke kate. Carbon dioxide to most important no. Principal anthropogenic greenhouse gas, yes. Methane persists for a shorter period, okay. Then carbon dioxide, nitrous oxide is a potent greenhouse gas. Temperature strongly affects atmospheric moisture, okay. With reference to the Ahom administration, Pike system was central to resource mobilization. Central to resource mobilization to labor process services to resource mobilization or I don't think the Ahom state relied entirely on cash taxation. Cash taxation no, this is entirely to follow. Kel organization had administrative. Yes, as state formation was linked to agricultural expansion. Yes. So two full hui thakile 3 and 4 to correct ase. Or two full hui thakile 1 3 4, that is C. Core institution of Ahom administration, labor service was more obedient than cash taxation, okay. Kells organized labor and production. Agricultural growth strengthened state power, okay. Regarding biodiversity, genetic diversity exists only between species. Genetic diversity exists only between species. Genetic diversity species only this ecosystem diversity refers to variation among habitats and ecological processes. Ecological diversity, variation among habitats and ecological processes. Yes, genetic diversity can enhance adaptability of populations. Yes, species diversity alone captures the full extent of biodiversity. No. Species biodiversity matter no. Species diversity lakibo. Are kiba lakibo no. So fourth to correct over no again. Genetic diversity exists only between species. No, 2 and 3 correct over to A हुआ. Yes. It all critical is too. Genetic diversity exists within species, between species no, within species. Okay, includes habitat level variation. Okay, important for adaptation. Biodiversity includes genetic and ecosystem dimensions. Yes, genetic over and okay, ecological dimension. APSC level elimination type. With reference to constitutional amendments in India, every constitutional amendment requires a special majority in both House of Constitutional Amendment special majority lage neki. Constitutional amendment karone special majority na lage neki. Oh sorry. Kiman asile question to 60 asile no. 60 asile. 56. 58. 59. Genetic diversity to kodulu no. 59 kodulu. So this comes 60. Every constitutional amendment requires a special majority in both houses of parliament. Special majority na lage neki. Some constitutional amendments additionally require ratification by at least half of the state legislatures. Some constitutional amendments additionally require ratification by at least half of the state legislature. However, constitutional amendments are exempt from judicial review. Parliament's amending power and Article 368 is subject to the basic structure doctrine. It correct way. Constitutional amendments are exempt from judicial review. Amendment to judicial review for exempt question. I don't think this is correct. So it full hobo 3 to full hobo 3 to full hobo C hobo to correct answer. C dibo. Yes, C edition. Amendments article require a special majority lagi bole amendment korbar karone Federal provisions need state ratification. Federal provisions need state ratification. Okay. Constitutional amendments can be judicially reviewed. Okay. This follows of the basic structure doctrine established in case of under party versus state of Kerala case. With regards to the office of the Vice President, the Vice President is elected by an electoral college consisting only of elected members of both houses. Only of elected members of both houses. Itu to hoy, but only of elected members not only itu no hobo. The Vice President is an ex-officio chairman of Rajya Sabha. Yes, the person may simultaneously hold the office of Vice President and be a member of either House of the Parliament. The Vice President may act as President in certain contingencies specified in the Constitution. The Vice President only to turn over 1 to turn over 2 to hoy 2 hoy 4 hoy 2 and 4 hoy honiki 1 to no hoy 3 to no hobo lage. Vice President is elected as a college system of only elected members for houses. To know about it to know one and a person may simultaneously hold the office Vice President and be a member of either house. 2 and 4 only. I will go for 2 and 4 only. A hobo. Yes. To kotikita A kyo disimo nasono. The electoral college includes elected and nominated members of both houses of the college. Elected hobo or nominated member of both houses. Article 64 makes the Vice President ex-officio chairman of 64 no of Rajya Sabha Vice Chairman. The Vice President cannot continue a member of Parliament after entering office. Vice President cannot continue a member of Parliament. Member of Honor. The Vice President acts as a President during vacancy, death, resignation, removal, or incapacity of the President. Okay. Following statements regarding Indian monsoon. The withdrawal of the southwest monsoon generally begins from northwestern. The withdraw. The southwest monsoon northwestern. India. It correct no. The northeast. Southwest are prahe no. एक तासो तो फुल है. Okay, 1 to 2 not take a C of a correct answer. Oh, sorry. C no, egg to correct. The withdrawal of the withdraw no, withdraw money always start no high, withdraw money always we're gonna already we see that always the withdrawal of southwest monsoon generally begins from northwestern India. National keep up with the northeast monsoon contributes significantly to rainfall. 62 to pollution, no? Rainfall over part of Tamil Nadu. The northeast monsoon contributes significant to rainfall over Tamil Nadu. Correct. Monsoon onset over Kerala is determined solely by rainfall criteria. Monsoon onset 3 to 1 again. The timing and the intensity of the monsoon can be influenced by large scale ocean atmosphere includes interactions. Land intensity influence large scale ocean atmospheric intersections. Yes, the correct one. 4 correct. 3 to full over no. 3 to full over. So correct to A hollow no. But Kerala is solely by rainfall rate on. So withdrawal of the southwest withdrawal of the southern monsoon generally begins from northwestern India. The northeast monsoon contributes significantly to rainfall over parts of Tamil Nadu. Okay, northeast monsoon right? Tamil Nadu rainfall high uh, retreating. The main intensity of the monsoon can be influenced by large scale ocean atmosphere interactions. Okay. Withdrawal generally begins from Rajasthan and Rajasthan withdrawals, and adjoining northwestern regions of Rajasthan. Tamil Nadu receives substantial rainfall from the northeast monsoon region from Tamil Nadu. The declaration of onset involves multiple meteorological parameters. ENSO, El Nino, QoSO, that is Indian Ocean dipole, and over other factors affect monsoon behavior. Okay. Tibetan plateau effect Korea. With reference to the Gupta period, okay, the Gupta rulers issued gold coins on a significant scale. Yes, Chinese pilgrim Faxian visited India during the Gupta period. Yes, the Gupta administration was completely centralized with no role for local authorities. Incorrect. Land grants became increasingly important during the Gupta. S 1, 2, and 4 are correct. 1, 2, 4 B hobo correct hobo I think. Easy করে দিছে. Gupta gold coin is some of the most remarkable in history. Fayan visited during the Chandragupta II. Chandragupta II, that is Vikramaditya. Local and regional authorities retained important roles. Land runs expanded significantly. Regarding unemployment, that is frictional unemployment can exist even in a healthy economy. Frictional unemployment Frictional unemployment can exist even in a healthy economy. It is correct. There is structural unemployment may arise due to technological change. Structural. Cyclical unemployment is generally associated with economic downturns. Full unemployment implies zero unemployment. Full employment implies zero employment. It is hobo noare. Further to hobo noare. So 1, 2, 3 hobo. A hobo. Khali A diye se mai thuru banate ki people switching jobs create jobs create frictional unemployment. Yes. Sense kore no tar bisode ta. Skill mismatches can emerge from technological shifts or skill mismatches technological shifts or no. And economic recessions generate cyclical unemployment. Economic recession, economic itu mana pura damage hoise no. Generate cyclical unemployment. Full employment still allows frictional. Full employment still allows frictional and some structural unemployment. Okay. With reference to the protected areas in India, national park may be notified within a biosphere reserve. Yes. Human activities are completely prohibited in all parts of a biosphere reserve. No. So 2 is excluded. The core areas of biosphere reserves are generally devoted to conservation. Yes. Wildlife sanctuaries and national parks have identical legal provisions regarding rights of local communities. 11. Yes. So 2 is excluded. 1, 3, 4. 1, 3, 4. D. Itu wrong. 이번에 খাইছে তাৰমানে 이번에 বস্তুটো A correct বলে no A and 3 1 and 3 only correct. No, reserves 1 and 3 only. Human completely prohibited to know and unnotified APSC reserve. Wildlife sanctuaries and national parks have identical legal provisions regarding rights of local communities. Identical legal provisions regarding rights of local communities. Itu no hai tamne. Local community and national park or wildlife sanctuary kiba legal authority ase niki population community bilakor nai. Many biosphere reserves contain yes transition and the buffer zones permit Regulatory activities, concerns prioritize conservation, legal treatment of rights of differs. Regarding Supreme Court of India, advisory opinions of the Supreme Court under Article 143 are binding on the President. Binding advisory opinions of the Supreme Court under Article 143 binding on the Supreme President. Supreme Court may review its own judgments. Yes. Curative petitions emerge through judicial innovation. Yes. The Supreme Court is a court of record. Yes. 2, 3, and 4 are correct only. 2, 3, 4, A whole. The AA option of the Q advisory opinions are not binding. Yes. Review power exists under Article 137. Curative petitions are judge-made procedural innovations. Article 129 declares the Supreme Court a court of records. Depends the climate change, climate science. Consider for estimates. Aerosols. Aerosols are influence climate. Aerosols can influence climate directly by interacting with radiation. However, aerosols can influence cloud formation processes. However, all aerosols contribute to warming of the volcanic eruptions may temporarily affect global temperatures. You A have the 1, 2, and 4 correct. 1, 2, and 4. 1, 2, 4 B have the. It है chance कर दीजिए. चल. Aerosols scatter and absorb radiation. Okay, radiation absorb करें. They serve as cloud condensation nuclei. Okay, aerosol माने all पानी माने बाष्पीभवन न जो के बोलते हैं. Aero माने all wind, water and air. Jol माने पानी. What like that? Just like that. Many aerosols produce cooling effects. Yes. Major eruptions can temporarily cool the planet. Major eruptions can temporarily cool the planet. Okay. For statements regarding Assam's historical development, our home state expanded through both military conquest and political integration. Yes. White rice cultivation played an important role in state formation. Yes. The pike system was merely a pike institution with no economic function. No, this is not. 1, 2, and 3 river systems significantly influenced settlement and political. Yes, 1, 2, and 4. 1, 2, 4. 1, 2, and 4 only correct. No, C. Yet not correct. To do Q Expansion involved multiple mechanisms. Agricultural growth enhanced state capacity. The system had economic and administrative roles. A river system shaped communication and settlement patterns. Okay, whereas to the ecosystem services, provisioning services include food and fresh water. Food and fresh water. Regulating services include climate regulation. Yes. Cultural services include recreation and spiritual values. Yes. Supporting services include nutrient cycling. Yes. The provisional services to include food and fresh water. It is supportive. So 2, 3, 4. It is 2, 3, 4 B. 1, 2, 3, 4. All of them are correct. C. All of them are correct. Provision services that is include provisioning services include food and water, fresh water. Regulating services, climate regulation. Cultural, that is recreation and spiritual, and supporting services, nutrient cycling. Okay, so the following particular. All statements correct. Masculine system services widely used classifications: provisioning food, water, regulating climate regulation, cultural recreation, heritage, spiritual values, supporting and nutrient cycling. Okay. This level that is delegated legislation refers to lawmaking powers exercised by authorities other than the legislature under authority created by the legislature. Delegated legislation refers to lawmaking powers. That legislation refers to lawmaking powers. As to the authorities and the legislature under the authority granted by the legislation. I don't know. Delegated legislation cannot be subjected to judicial review. It is wrong. Growth of administrative state has contributed to the expansion of delegated legislation. Excessive delegation may raise concerns regarding democratic. Yes, so 1, 2, 3 and 4, 1, 3 and 4, 1, 3 and 4. It will be B. Yes, B is the correct answer. This is standard definition. Delegated legislation is subject to judicial review. Modern governance requires technical rulemaking. This is a major constitutional concern. To delegated legislation refers to lawmaking powers exercised by authorities of the legislature under authority granted by the legislature. The legislation can be subject to the growth of the administrative state and to the expansion of delegated administration. And the state has contributed to the delegated legislation. Excessive delegation may arise concerns regarding democratic accountability. Okay. When we study the concept of constitutionalism, constitutionalism implies limitation of governmental power through constitutional mechanisms. Constitutional mechanism, yes. A country may purchase a written constitution without necessarily being constitutionalist in practice. A country may purchase a written constitution without necessarily being constitutionalist in practice. No, itu correct benar. Judicial review is one of the institutional devices come associated with constitutional. Yes, constitutionalism requires that every public policy decision will be taken directly by citizens through referendums. That every public policy decision be taken directly by citizens through referendums. Okay, without necessarily being practice. 1, 3, 1 and 3 only, or 1, 1, 3, 4. 1, 3, 4 as 9, 1, 3, 4, 1, 3, 4, 9. So, constitutional country may possess a written constitution without necessarily being constitutionalist in practice. This is written constitution of constitutionally without being constitutionalist in practice or constitutionalist. Requires that every public policy decision should be taken directly by president through referendums. All have only 1 to 3 all. Put it again. 1 to 3 correct. The constitutionalism requires that every doesn't require to be every citizen to take directly citizens through referendums. Okay. Constitutionalism seeks to limit arbitrary powers. Okay. That is arbitrary means useless powers. So a written constitution alone does not guarantee constitutional governance. Okay. Judicial review is a common constitutional safeguard. Okay. Constitutionalism doesn't require direct democracy. Okay. The environment of citizen, no. There is democracy. Doesn't require constitution. Doesn't mean direct democracy. Constitutional case no stay court no judicial body no. The concept of instruments regarding earthquakes. The focus of an earthquake is the point whether the earth where seismic energy is first released. Plus of an Earthquake is the point within the earth where seismic energy is first released. Seismic energy is the focus point. The focus point ito to hobo nalage neki nohobo. The epicenter lies directly above the focus on the earth's surface. Yes, epicenter above or I don't know. I'm paisilo pahori gelo. Earthquake magnitude and intensity refer to exactly the same phenomenon. No, that is so 3 is wrong. Liquefaction is more likely in water saturated unconsolidated samples. 1, 2, and 4. Where have earthquakes? Well, the focus point of earthquake is the point when within the earth where seismic energy is first released. The epicenter directly above the focus or the earth's surface. So 1, 2, and 4. 1, 2, and 4. 1, 2, 4. B habo. This is the definition of the focus hypocenter. The epicenter is the surface point vertically above the focus. Focus point to beleg asile no. Magnitude measures energy release, intensity measures observed effects. Okay. Liquefaction commonly refers or affects loose waterlogged sediments. Okay. The focus point of an earthquake is the point within the earth. Within the earth. Okay. Focus point within the earth. Seismic first release. Okay. Focus point to okay. With respect to the reign of Ashoka. Ashoka's inscriptions constitute one of the earliest extensive bodies of written historical evidence in India. Yes, the edicts were issued exclusively in Prakritic language and Brahmi script. No, Prakrit or Brahmi matter Sanskrit likha nasile niki? I don't think so. So exclusively no. So this is wrong. Ashoka's Dhamma primarily emphasized ethical conduct and social harmony. Yes, ethical conduct and social harmony. Ashoka appointed officials known as Dhamma Mahamatras. So what 2 is wrong. So 1, 3, 4. 1, 3, 4. Ito habo. Sane মানে কি যিটো ইহঁতৰ অপশ্যনৰ পেটাৰ্ণ সেইটো এনে ফ'ল' কৰিব পাৰে মানে Ashokan inscriptions are a major primary source. Okay. And some inscriptions use the Kharosthi asile script asile Greek asil Aramaic asil not only Prakrit and Brahmi but Kharosthi Greek Aramaic asile Sanskrit nasile tar mane no Brahmi. Dhamma stressed morality and welfare. Dhamma Mahamatras were appointed for its propagation at 74. What's the four estimates regarding fiscal policy? Fiscal policy. Expansionary fiscal policy involves increasing government expenditure and or reducing taxes. Yes, fiscal multipliers may vary depending on economic conditions. Yes, government borrowings can potentially affect interest rates. Government borrowing interest rate affect করে নেকি কৰিব পাৰে fiscal deficits necessarily imply economic mismanagement no fiscal deficit হৈছে মানে খালি যে economic mismanagement আছে সেইটো নহয় বেলেগ কথাও থাকিব পাৰে ন বেলেগ accident হ'ব পাৰে কি ক'ব তাক accident ক'ব লাগিল so 1 to 3 হ'ব a হ'ব to the species interactions. Okay, Mutualism benefits both interacting species. Mutualism benefits both interacting species. Oh, itu correct. Commensalism benefits one species, while the other is neither significantly harmed nor benefited. Itu হ'ব পাৰে. Predation is necessarily detrimental to ecosystem functional. Itu correct নহয়. Predation হ'বই ecosystem. Competition may occur both within and between species. Yes. So 3 is not correct. So 1, 2, and 4. 1, 2, 4 correct. That is B. Constitutional statements regarding the powers of Supreme Court. The Supreme Court possesses original jurisdiction in certain disputes between the Union and the states. Supreme Court possesses original jurisdiction in certain disputes between Union and states. The Supreme Court can issue writs for enforcement of fundamental rights. Yes. Every dispute involving the government automatically falls within the court's original jurisdiction. No. APSC restoration exercise under Article 143. That is 1, 2, and 4. 1, 2, 4 to B. Q is equal to C. With reference to the climate feedback, okay, melting snow and ice can reduce Earth's albedo. Melting snow and ice melt যেটো বেছিকৈ হয় albedo এফেক্ট কৰিব নেকি? Yes, reduce কৰি দিয়ে no? Yes. Reduced albedo may increase absorption of solar radiation. Reduced albedo may increase absorption of solar radiation. No. Increased atmospheric water vapor can imply warming. Yes. All climate feedbacks are negative feedbacks. No. To reduce albedo may increase absorption of solar radiation. হ'ব পাৰে দেই চাৰিটোতো নহয় আছোঁ 1 to 3 হ'ব লাগে চি হ'ব চি হ'ল যেতিয়া albedo reduce হয় তেতিয়া মানে absorption of radiation বেছি হয় আৰু কি increase হয় more solar energy is absorbed, okay, while albedo is decreased. Okay. Water vapor is positive feedback. Both positive and negative feedbacks exist. For statements regarding the socio-economic history of Assam. Riverine networks played a major role in communication and trade. Riverine networks played a major role in communication and trade. Yes. Agricultural expansion contributed to state formation. Processes. Agricultural expansion contributed to state formation. Yes. Political authority evolved independently of ecological conditions. Evolved independently of ecological conditions. Floodplains simultaneously create opportunities and constraints for settlement. Yes. So political authority evolved independently of ecological conditions. Communication and trade. Major expansion contributed to state formation. 1 to 2 correct. 4 to correct. 3 to 1 to 4 political authority evolved independently নিজস্ব ভাবে হৈছে নেকি I don't think correct. So 1, 2, and 4, that is B. Yes, B is the correct answer. All of বস্তুটো river transport was crucial historically. Rail growth strengthens Ecologically influenced political development, okay. To independently no plant plants operate fertile land but flood risks, yes. With reference to biological biodiversity loss, habitat fragmentation can reduce genetic exchange between populations. Habitat fragmentation can reduce genetic exchange between populations, yes. Invasive alien species may alter ecosystem functioning, yes. Um, over over exploitation can contribute to species decline, yes. Biodiversity loss affects ecosystem services available to humans. Biodiversity loss affects ecosystem services available to humans. Condition can reduce genetic exchange between populations. এইটো মই ধৰিব পৰা নাই দেই কোনটো হ'ব 1 2 3 হ'ব Biodiversity loss affects ecosystem. Biodiversity loss হ'লে ecosystem services available to human. গোটেইকেইটাই হ'ব নেকি গোটেইকেইটাই হ'ব মই চিয়ে দিম য়েছ চিয়ে দি দিলোঁ কাৰেক্ট বস্তুটো কি কৈছে biodiversity loss no habitat fragmentation can reduce genetic exchange between populations. Invasive alien species may alter ecosystem functioning. Overexploitation can contribute to species decline. Biodiversity loss affects ecosystem services available to humans, okay. All of them are correct. Habitation fragmentation, invasive species, overexploitation, and economic service decline are well-established drivers and consequences of biodiversity loss. The Constitution expressly uses the term separation of powers. No, Constitution of separation word নাই. So এইটো 1 to 2 ফুলে হ'ল ডাইৰেক্ট 2 3 4 এইটোৱে হ'ব 3 টো কেনেকুৱা আছে The Indian constitutional scheme provides for a complete and rigid separation of powers. 2 4 এমটো হ'ব নেকি constitutional scheme provides for a complete and rigid 3 টো থাকিব 2 3 4 হ'ব C A হ'ল 3 টো ভুলে হ'ল ন so ভুল হ'ল complete to নহ'ল তাৰমানে doesn't expressly restrict terms of service power. God has linked to its basic structure. India follows a system of separation with overlap and sex, okay. Sex and balance হয় ন sex and balances are integral to constitutional governance, okay. With reference to parliamentary privileges in India, as the following instruments. Parliamentary privileges are explicitly defined and exhaustively in the Constitution. No, it will freedom of speech in Parliament is subject to Article 19(2) restrictions. হ'ব পাৰে হ'ব লাগেতো freedom of speech 19(2) the restrictions কিয় দিছে নাজানো but subject to Article restrictions. Yes, members of the Parliament are immune from legal proceedings for anything said or any vote given in Parliament. Parliamentary privileges can be expanded by Parliament through law. Okay, parliamentary privileges are explicitly defined and exhaustively in the Constitution. No, 2 3 4 এইটোৱে হ'ব 2 3 4 হ'ব 2 3 4 even legal proceedings for anything. Two and 4, so 2 3 4 D 3 and 4. Oh my god, political এনেকুৱা টান কুৱেশ্যন কাটিব লাগে ন Preferences are explicitly defined to full. So freedom of speech in parliament is subject to article 19.2. 19.2 আছিলে restrictions restrict কৰিছিলে নেকি এইটো অলপ ভুল হৈ থাকিলে ন restriction of order কাৰণে ন so 3 and 4 only Privileges are not exhaustively defined in the Constitution. They are partly codified and partly based on parliamentary law and conventions. Freedom of speech in Parliament is governed by Article. Freedom of speech governed primarily by Parliament, and government is Article 105, not Article 19. 105 is freedom of speech is in This is in Parliament, no? Freedom of speech in Parliament, that is 105, no? The key was speech in Parliament, no? Freedom of speech in Parliament, freedom of speech in Parliament, no? Article 19.2 freedom of right to express, freedom of speech over the Parliament, no? Parliament can define privileges by law until codified fully. Whereas to the Earth's interior, the outer core is in a liquid state, primarily due to high temperature. Earth's interior, the outer core is in a liquid state, primarily due to high temperature. However, as waves cannot travel through the outer core. P waves are completely unable to pass through the Earth's core. The mantle exhibits both solid and plastic behavior depending on depth. To 1 to 4 হ'ব লাগে দেই এই হ'ব কমপ্লিট ৱাৰ্ডৰ কাৰণে আৰু ন বাকী বেলেগ একো নাই বাকীটো নাজানোৱে so the outer core is in a liquid state outer core to liquid state থাকে ন outer মানে কি আৰ্থৰ ইণ্টেৰিয়ৰ কথা কৈছে এইটো আমাৰ এইটো আৰ্থৰ সাৰফেসটো কোৱা নাই into the latter due to the high temperature as waves cannot travel through the outer core as waves কৰিব নোৱাৰে P waves are completely unable to pass through it completely editor কাৰণে ফুল হ'ল ন completely মানে পাৰে P waves are able to pass through the Earth's core again. The mantle exhibits both solid and plastic behavior depending on depth. Mantle মানে খোলাটো ন exhibits both solid and plastic behavior depending on depth. Okay, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, and 4 are correct. 1, 2, and 4 are correct. 1, 2, and 4 are correct. Reference 2. Okay. India's agricultural systems consider four statements. The Green Revolution primarily focused on rice and wheat. Yes. High yielding varieties require higher chemical inputs. Yes. Require the Green Revolution had uniform benefits across. You do know irrigation played a crucial role in its success. Irrigation, yes. 1 to 4 হ'ব কিয় তিনিটা দিছে এই হ'ব আসামতে বহুত ইজি কৰি কিয় দিছে the secularism in India. Okay, this Indian secularism implies strict separation between religion and state. Strict নহয় ইমান strict নহয় কাম নাই বেকাৰ the state can engage with religious institutions for reform and regulation পাৰে the constitution guarantees freedom of religion subject to public order, morality, and health. Indian secularism allows equal respect to all religions. এইটোতো হয়, বাট ওৱানটো হ'ব নালাগে, ৰিলিজিয়াছ ইনষ্টিটিউশ্যনছবোৰ অকণমান ওৱানটোতো হ'ব নালাগে, 2, 3, 4 হ'ব। Subject to order's morality, health, just institutions will recommend. Yes, 2, 3, 4 হ'ব. Yeah. Weapons to biodiversity conservation. Okay, X to conservation involves conservation outside natural habitats. Natural habitats or outside kuch no, X to. Yes, X to conservation involves conservation outside natural habitat. Natural habitat biodiversity. Yes, this is correct. Seed banks are examples of. Ito 2 incorrect hol. 2 incorrect. 2 code নাই. 1 ote নাই. Baki gote kita ase. So A is the correct answer. Botanical gardens are ex-situ conservation. Botanical garden. Yes, ex-situ. Natural habitat no, no. National parks represent in situ conservation. Okay. With reference to the Indian monsoon, consider following statements. The Somali jet is a low-level jet stream. Somali jet low-level jet stream? No, not. It no way. Somalia pura Indian Arabian Sea no jet stream. The onset of monsoon is the weather reversal of surface winds over the Arabian Sea. Yes, the Indian monsoon is purely a local phenomenon restricted to South Asia. To buji ponare bhalke. Indian monsoon is purely a phenomenon restricted to local phenomenon. Restricted to South Asia. South Asia nahi ramile. Ito no hai. Purely no hai. All of sulab to ifo kore hoy. So 3 is not correct. And so influences monsoon variability. Yes, this is correct. Somali jet is a low-level jet stream. Hoba pare day. So 1 to 4 A hoba. Somali jet a low-level over Indian Ocean. Okay. Why wind reversal is key to onset? Okay. Monsoon has global teleconnections. Okay. ENS or FX rainfall variability. That is Indian Constitution. Fundamental rights can be suspended during national emergency. Itu correct hoy. Article 2021 cannot be suspended even during emergency. 2021. 22 yes, to tomorrow. 2 years. President's rules can be imposed on recommendation of the state cabinet. State cabinet to recommendation lage niki president's rules koribor karone. National emergency president rules lagibo pare de. Pare. Financial emergency has been imposed in India so far. Financial emergency in India has been imposed. Yes, we should talk over lage to. Financial emergency to. So konto correct hobo no. Emergency president's imposed recommendation. To option B question. Financial emergency has been imposed in India so far. Which sorry to takibo. President's rules can be imposed on recommendation of the state cabinet. During fundamental rights can be suspended during national emergency. Suspended. ওলাৰ কাৰেক্টকৈ দি দিওঁ, হ'লে হ'ল নহ'লে নাই, দিয়ে দি দিওঁ, ভুল হ'ল, দি দিওঁ ভুল, গোটেইকেইটা এ আছিলে, 1 and 2 অনলি ন। President's rules can be imposed on recommendation of the state cabinet. President rule state cabinetor কি লাগে, মতামত নালাগেতো ন। Financial emergency has been imposed. No, financial emergency এবাৰ হোৱা নাই তাৰমানে। Okay. Events to climate change science. Methane has a higher global warming potential than carbon dioxide over a 100 years. No. Carbon dioxide is the only greenhouse gas affected by human activity. No. এইটোতো নহয়, এইটোও নহয়, এইটোতো নহয়। Feedback mechanisms can amplify over or reduce warming. Permafrost thaw can release greenhouse gases. এইটোতো নহয়, 134 আছে নে নাই, 134 আছে, এইটোৱে হ'ব, বাকী কি এইটো এনেকুৱাই পেটাৰ্ণত দিছে। মিথেন has a higher global warming potential than carbon dioxide over 100 years period. অ'কে, এইটো ভুল হোৱা নিচিনা লাগিছে, এইটোতো নহয়। 3 and 4 নাই, চ' এ হ'ব। Methane is far more potent per molecule. Many greenhouse gases are anthropogenic. Positive and negative feedbacks exist. Releases methane and CO2. Permafrost releases methane and carbon dioxide. No, release permafrost thaw. Refers to Indian rivers. Brahmaputra is a perennial river. Yes, perennial river মানে anything মানে কি থাকে তাত, পানী থাকে। It exhibits a highly braided channel. Yes, river islands in the Brahmaputra are stable over centuries. No, sediment load contributes to channel shifting. Yes, 1, 2 and 4. খালি A দিছে দেখোন, 1, 2 and 4. Perennial মানে হ'ল ৰেইন থাকিব, গ্লেচিয়াৰ ফেড ন, এনি টাইম পানী থাকে। Reference to the concept of sustainable development goals. Sustainable development goals are legally binding obligations on all United Nations members. Legally binding on all. Legally binding হয়, বাট কেনেকৈ লিগেল কৰিব পাৰি, নহয়, এইটো হ'ব নোৱাৰে। Economic, social and environmental dimensions. Development goals replace the Millennium Development Goals in 2015 require uniform national implementation therapies across all countries. So 1 to হ'ব নোৱাৰে, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4 C হ'ব লাগে, 4 to নহয়, এইটো all countries ন, 2 and 3 only, এইটো মোৰ ভুল হৈ থাকিলে। Voluntary global, okay. Course ended in 15. কি কৈছিলে, মিলেনিয়াম ডেভেলপমেণ্ট গ'ল 15 এণ্ড হৈছিলে। Concepts adopt context specific strategies. So the pit and substance, okay. Doctrine of pit and substance, I don't know. Pit, it is used to determine the true nature of the legislation when there is a conflict between union and the state lists. It is a law falls incidentally in another list, it is automatically declared invalid. কেনেকৈ হ'ব, এইটো নহ'ব। The doctrine helps preserve legislative competence for both parliament and state legislatures. It is applied only in cases involving parliamentary rights violations. So the list 1 and 3 only. A হ'ব, yes, A হ'ব। Means pit and কি আছিলে, substance. Doctrine of pit and substance, it determines true character of legislation Incidental enforcement doesn't invalidate law, helps maintain federal balance. It is unrelated to fundamental rights cases. Indian agriculture minimum support price is legally binding on the government. Itu হ'ব লাগে না binding. To minimum support price is announced for certain crops of the government of India based on recommendations of the Commission for Agricultural Costs and Prices. MSP is a market intervention tool intended to ensure price stability for farmers. MSP applies uniformly to all agricultural commodities. But এইটোতো হ'ব নোৱাৰে. So MSP is legally binding on the government. Minimum support price to government to record, but 2 and 3 বেছি legal নিচিনা লাগি আছে. 2 and 3 হ'ব. Not legally enforceable, okay. CSCP মানে কি? CSCP মানে কি কয়? CSCP, that is Commission for Agriculture Costs and Prices. All crops kila cover nokore na, MSP cover nokore minimum support price. To the Indian River dendritic drainage patterns resemble tree-like structure. However, trellis drainage patterns are common in folded mountain regions. However, radial drainage occurs when rivers flow outward from a central high point. Braided rivers are characterized by a single deep channel. No. This is 4 to 9, so 1 to 3 hobo, 1 to 3 A hobo. Okay, A is not going to do by it. It is to dendritic pattern to hold tree-like structure, trellis to hold folded mountain region of folded mountain region of and radial drainage occurs when the rivers flow outward from a central high point, central high point opposite to downward to radial drainage center, no. That is braided rivers in multiple channels. To the Indian freedom struggle, okay, the non-cooperation movement was withdrawn after the Surisura movement. Non-cooperation movement, yes, this is correct. The civil disobedience movement 1920 to no 1922 civil disobedience movement involved violation of colonial laws. Yes, the Quit India movement was launched during World War II. No, this is not correct. Oh, correct. 1942 to World War II. So this is correct. 39 to 45. The Government of India Act 1935 introduced provincial autonomy. Yes. Non-cooperation movement was withdrawn after the Surisura incident. The civil disobedience movement involved the violation of colonial laws. Civil disobedience movement. No, itu নহয়. 2 to হ'ব নালাগে, 134 হ'ব লাগে ন. 134 নাই তেতিয়াহ'লে গোটেইকেইটা কাৰেক্ট হ'ব. তেতিয়াহ'লে এইটো চিভিল ডিsobedience ভায়োলেশ্যন অফ colonial laws A হ'ব. Now we to pursue the biodiversity conservation. Keystone species have disproportionate effects on ecosystem structure keystone species have disproportionate effects on ecosystem structure. এটা হ'ব পাৰে indicator species are used to assess environmental conditions. Yes, flagship species are always endemic to a region. No. So umbrella species conservation can indirectly protect other species. Yes. So 1, 2 and 4. 1, 2, 4 A. Come about the high iman easy kiyo dise mane. Allow ecological influence, environmental health indicators. Flagship species are symbolic, not necessarily endemic. But the umbrella species protects habitats. Okay. With reference to Indian Constitution, the President can promulgate the ordinances only when both houses of the Parliament are not in session. No. That hobe nore. So 2, 3, 4 hobo. 1 to 2 nohoy. 1 to nohoy. 2 and 4 hobo. Ordinance must be approved by Parliament within 6 weeks of assembly. Okay. Ordinance making power is subject to judicial review. 3 and 4. Okay, 3 and 4 hobo. 3 and 4 nahi ate. Ordinances can amend fundamental rights permanently. Oh my god. You belag this, you know. The 2 and 3 hobo de. 2 and 3 C hobo. No hai. 1 to 3 has le ordinances so it will, you know. To tan dise. Enike tan dibo lage. The president can remember ordinances only and not in session. So correct to guess le. B as le 1, 2, 3 are correct. No. 1, 2, 3. To the president can promulgate ordinances only when promulgate meaning to mui buji ponate halke. Sabo lage promulgate ordinances can promulgate ordinances only when the are not in session. Okay. Ordinances must be approved by Parliament within 6 weeks of assembly. Approval like ordinance na within 6 weeks. No, ordinance making power is subject to judicial review and ministers can amend fundamental rights permanently. No. Fundamental right with reference to ocean currents, consider following. The warm currents increase coastal humidity. Yes. Cold currents are associated with desert formation along western continental margins. Ito correct hobo lage to. Ocean currents are influenced by Coriolis force. Yes. Ocean currents are independent of wind systems. Ocean currents are independent. No, this is not. 4 is not correct. So A way to know. It to 4 to incorrect hobo. Independent ocean effect kore no one system. Currents system with desert formation. Yes, this is correct. Cold currents in the western continental margins. Ocean currents are influenced by Coriolis force. To correct warm currents increase. Yes. So 1, 2, 3 are correct. Yeah. With reference to the economy, inflation reduces purchasing power. Inflation, value of money is large, or if wages do not rise proportionately. Yes, this is correct. Deflation refers to a decrease in general price levels. Inflation makes price level down, so deflation means price of the money is higher, so deflation refers decrease in general price levels. Yes, this is correct. Decrease in general price levels decrease, so the money value increases. So hyperinflation is characterized by very low price increases. Hyperinflation, very low price increase. Stagnation refers to high inflation with stagnant growth. Stagnation refers to high inflation with stagnant growth. I don't know. But 1 and 2 are correct. 1 and 2 are correct. But what about this 3 and 4? I don't know. Hyperinflation is characterized by very low price increase. Hyperinflation. Price increase can be very low price increase. Very low. Hyper means very high, not low. So 3 is not correct. 1, 2, and 4 stagnation refers to high inflation with stagnant growth. It will 1A. তথাপিও ইজি কৰি দিছে ন real income falls, price level decline, okay. Hyperinflation, extreme high inflation, okay. Classic definition with reference to climate systems. La Nina is associated with the cooling of the Central and Eastern Pacific Ocean. Central or Eastern Pacific Ocean, La Nina cool no. La Nina generally strengthens the Indian monsoon. Yes. ENSO is confined to the Indian Ocean. No. And Indian Ocean, no, not possible. Climate variability can be influenced by ocean atmosphere coupling. Climate variability can be influenced. So 1 to 4. A whole key negative and last question 2. Governance and public policy. In India, policy implementation always produces outcomes exactly as intended by policymakers. No, policy implementation exactly আহিব নেকি যেনেকৈ মানে সিহঁতে ইণ্টেণ্ট কৰে বিচাৰে ন 2, 3, 4 হ'ব 2, 3, 4 হ'ব administrative capacity influences policy effectiveness. Yes, policy outcomes may differ from policy data due to ground level constraints. Yes, public policy evaluation is a continuous process. Public policy evaluation is a continuous process. Yes, that is A, correct. So this is it. Any correlation ইমান ইজিকে দিছে মানে যিটো মানে এলিমিনেশ্যন কৰাৰ হেৰি চ' মই এতিয়া মাৰ্কছখিনি কাউণ্ট কৰিম কিমান পাওঁ কাৰেক্ট কেইটা হৈছে চাওঁ প্ৰথমতে 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 73 correct হৈছে তেতিয়াহ'লে কিমান হ'ব 27 ৰং হৈছে 27 ৰং হ'লে 66 42 4 12 4 16 2 8 so 73 correct হ'লে 6 so 146 so 17 minus 8 that is 8 and 1 to 1 to 5 that is 8 15 bracket kule 128 so আজি 128 আহিল মানে প্ৰথম কোৱেশ্চনখিনি এটা বহুত হাৰ্ড আছিলে কিন্তু লাষ্টত মানে এনেকুৱা সহজ হৈ গ'ল বস্তুখিনি চ' এইখিনি আৰু ন বাই বাই